What's up, and welcome back, fellow Siege spectators and players. Welcome to the heart-pounding excitement of the ESA Cup, where top-tier teams clash in an intense battle of strategy and skill. I am the Reverend Whiskey Glitter, and with me, Mr. Naj. What's happening, Naj?
Not a lot, if I'm honest. I've been out of work since Voltage League and ESA, decided it was off season time, and now now I'm back. I'm back in the seat. I'm gonna be doing some more of this and seeing what we can do.
Let's
So
go. Yep. Well, I'm excited
yeah,
for it. Three best of ones today for season 8, and it is going to be a battle. Let's take a look at how we're going to get to the end of this whole thing, because we've got a bit of a new format, right? Why don't you take us through it, Mr. Nash?
well, um, a bit of a reformed Swiss phase that's going to be starting us out, which is something I spoke about in the announcement. And to roughly explain it, because it can be a bit difficult to wrap your head around. Um, essentially,
Mm-hmm.
essentially, the Swiss system works functionally the same. You have your 3 wins, you qualify. But this time, depending on your placement, you're going to have different results in where you go in phase two for the double elimination bracket. So, for example, if you end up in the middle of the tables, the middle of the pack, as I refer to it, you're going to have a mid match or sort of like a decider to decide who is going to be eliminated, who's going to go through, etc., that sort of thing. And yeah, we've got some exciting games on our hands for today in particular, and obviously we've got teams that are already in their placements. But today's games we have Pulsar,
Mm-hmm.
Aero.
Okay.
So that's going to be a fun game. Two teams that are relatively unknown for me. I don't really know much about their rosters or who they've even picked up for their team. So it could be players that I recognise. It could be something different. So I'm very interested in learning a little more about them coming into this play day. And well, it'll be interesting to see them specifically go against each other. Next up, we got Aspire and AGM, two teams we've seen before. And very well could have new players, different rosters, etc., etc. But we also have Minions and Misclick, who are two teams that both had great runs in season 5, and then in season 6 kind of slept under the radar
Yeah, it
and
fell
didn't
off
really
just
do
a
a
bit.
lot. Yeah, so they're coming back with a vengeance.
Huh. So let's take a look at what we thought was going to go down for the games today. And it looks like a bit of a split here. 4-2 here on the first match. Oh jeez, no. Okay. Forgot there was a whole nother page.
Yeah, I dodged out on the predictions a little bit. For at the moment though, at the top, it looks like we've got a fairly even split for Pulsar and Aero. So it's going to be one that it's going to be pretty interesting to find out who actually the stronger team is. And once again, we have a relatively even split for Aspire and AGM to it be a matter of our productions, which one of our production team actually secure themselves a pretty high percentage coming into this. We do have the map bans coming up very shortly. Do you want to run us through that?
Yep. So it looks like we've got the new ones out and early. Nobody really wanting to face down a Consulate and Nighthaven as they fell both for the 1 and 3 pick. Border to fall next, which if we see Nighthaven gone, Border's almost essentially going to be going as well. Nobody wants to play those similar types of map. Dub House out, Bank to follow, and no short map of the Skyscraper, which means we're going to be settling at the very end of it, the pinnacle of Blitz and Clan. We're headed to Moscow and to Cafe, which for a best of one could be pretty exciting, Naj.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's kind of 3 maps right now that are like just the Brazil maps, and it kind of revolves around like cafe, bank, and cons. And the thing about it is like when it comes down to it, cons is kind of adapting into to more of a favoured side of the European sort of side of Siege. And then you've got maps like Cafe that are still very much in favour of that Brazilian side. So I really expect to see a lot of that sort of aggressive play come out of these teams. And well, we've got a few more things to run through. So what are we going to next, Mr. Glitter?
Yeah, next we're going to see what you thought was going to go down for game number 1, and it is kind of overwhelmingly in favor of Arrow Gaming, coming in, and a 63% of you saying that they're going to take the dub on this best of 1. So a bit of the underdog coming out here.
Yeah, will be nice to see Pulsar be able to, you know, create a name for themselves coming into this game, especially considering they're kind of the underdogs, and it's kind of nice to see one of these sort of stories, especially with these teams, and teams that are kind of unknown entities, unknown factors, coming into things like this. Especially for me, some people here in the cast or even in the chat right now, like might be aware of who these teams are and might have like some more thorough knowledge than I do. But when it comes down to these two teams as a whole, I haven't seen them much in ESA, if at all. Um, and I'm interested to see how they perform, what they decide to bring to the table, and realistically, how powerful they can be coming into the future of this league. So I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. And a nice map to do it on, right? Cafe is a really good way to prove yourself, right? Because it's
Yeah.
that giant box. It can go one of two ways. If you've got a strong for or second floor play, then you know what? Got the potential to do it. And it's all gonna depend on who we're banning out going into that best one. Because it's a sprint, not a marathon, my friend. This is who's gonna get to the end the quickest, because there's no second or third map to back this one up.
Well, yeah, it like a lot of it comes down to this sort of like a situation where is it a horizontal map? Is it a vertical map? Is it something that you can kind of adapt and change and things like that? And as a whole, yes, aggression does play a pretty big factor in a handful of these maps. But one of the things that very much plays into account when it comes down to a map like Cafe is that verticality. It's like, as you said, it's a box. There's three of the four sides you can't really play horizontally. One of them you kind of can, but not all the time it works. So it's like you've got this air of questionability when it comes down to whether these teams are actually going to be coordinated enough to, organize these strats, and whether the other team's going to be coordinated enough to adapt and be able to bring themselves further into the situation. So we are going to be heading into the game.
Let's go. I'm so excited before it because, we're living in this huge defensive meta right now. So, a team that has got a well put together attack strat is going to potentially be the team coming on top, and we're taking it to Cafe to do it. Naj, let's get going, baby. Vans, who you think's coming out right out the gate?
Well, I mean, it's Cafe. There's a handful. Realistically, Ying goes. Ying does not stand a chance.
Mm-hmm.
And then, second attacker man, more than likely going to be the Doki, but very well could be things like the Hibana, the Ash, the Monty, as you can see here. But it could also be, more wild pick things like the Amaru, and like this could really like throw a team off guard.
Yeah, well, because it's such a, like you talked about, such a close map together. Some of these operators, the Monty and the Ying specifically, can be huge, right? Monty just got the shield rework, which now allows them to do the shield bash, look around while they're behind the shield, and reload. So just a huge operator. Nobody wants to deal with those Candelas. On the backside of it, the defensive bans. First of all is going to be the Mira. Mira being utilized on pretty much every site. If available, especially holding that verticality that we were talking about so often. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Valkyrie go here next.
Solace is next.
Yeah,
let's be honest.
Probably. But I love when she's on the board.
Oh,
baby!
We're in for a treat tonight, boys. We just Solace on the card. Lot of this aggressive late round play from these defenders, and it's going to be so much fun. So, looking at the rosters, I don't particularly recognise, apart from actually Yari. So we're going to be seeing some new faces, some new people coming into the ESA, really looking to make a name for themselves. And well, let's hope we got some big fraggers in here, because it's a very aggressive lineup from the defending side.
Absolutely. So we're gonna start up in the standard primary site, gonna be up in that 3F location, and a couple of highlight picks, highlight operators, right? In this defensive meta, Intel is king, so we are gonna see the Valkyrie on the board. I posturize that maybe we might see the Valkyrie ban because that intel's so heavy. On the opposite side of it, we bring out the mute and take away that intel from those drones, or potentially from the phone calls that could ring out from the Doki, who is, by the way, left on the board. So huge operator still left on the attacking side of it. And then the two big ones is going to be that Solus, who is great at having that intel from just across the map, able to read where pushes are coming, what type of utility, and then the trench warfare of Azami to be set up in piano. This is a really good defensive lineup here for this 3F location.
Yeah, you can hazard a guess as to who's going to be on site, who's going to be fiddling around elsewhere, but it's kind of like you know your lineup's aggressive when your primary anchors are probably going to be the Azami, probably going to be the Mute, and probably going to be the Wamai. So looking at a lineup like this for the defenders, I expect a lot of confidence coming out of them and really trying to just take these peaks, and we'll have to see what they can do. But Mute is going to be around in that cigar shop, takes a lot of damage, isn't able to actually find the frag, is the attackers right now, but Finka is going to be trying to deal with some of these Kiba barricades.
Oh!
Cyber catches out Antonio, as now going to be seeing a little bit of a run out to in this 4v4 situation. Opening frag found by the attackers, but we equalize.
Yeah, so then that's a huge pick too, because not only do we get that 60 bit of HP off the board of the Finka, that's the LMG gun. One of the ways that we're going to be dealing with these Kiba barriers, right? Because this is the new season. We have got these Kiba barriers that are now degradable. So taking shots at them going to help get some of this trench warfare, force this Wamai out of this tower position. This is a huge pick as it does get equalized. So we sit on the back of a 4-4 with a minute and a half left on the board. And we're going to see the gridlock fall next, given the body bounce directly over
Iba is very unafraid as he finds another one onto Risk, and now going to be trying to take the peek up to the south window too. See the ace, he's dropped the hatch, he's taking the engagement against the mutant. Cyber finds Diba, and now we're in a 2v2 situation. Yari going to be getting aggressive on the cigar door, and well, we still have a man on rappel. It's going to be Cyber, that entry fragger, still outside playing the Palu impression, as he is going to be baiting his teammate a little bit. Valkyrie goes for the swing, finds one. That's going to be Black to fall, and well, it's just Cyber left alive. Is he going to be able to clutch it? No! Yari puts a bullet between his eyes, and that's going to be the round over.
Sheesh! So it was slow all the way until it wasn't, right? That was incredible gameplay. They just couldn't dislodge the Wamai. One of the reasons that we see a zombie banned out on this map so often, the quick peek yowza for the triple kill.
Reloading.
Okay, I gotta say, the replays are absolutely delicious. Well done indeed. So it is gonna be off the back of the double to end it here, as Valkyrie did come up pretty clutch there in the back end of the round. And that is gonna give one to the defense to start us out.
Well, it is, as now we're going to be going down to this kitchen bomb site. This is a bomb site that went from being played one way, which is looking to be the very default standard at the moment between a lot of these teams, and then also the BDS way, where they decided to utilize the Tachanka LMG and completely take apart the middle wall in order to play the fire on, or the Shumika launcher on the default plants. As the site has developed, however, we've seen a lot more pressure, and a lot more pressure over towards that freezer side. So potentially going to be seeing a bit more of a cautious approach from these defenders and just playing that default standard play life, I guess. But some quick thing to point out is we are seeing Deimos being brought by Risk, and hopefully is going to be having an impact in this round, as well, he's been pretty fruitless in every league except Korea, because for some reason the Koreans like to ban him every game.
Well, in the age of intel and opportunity, right, Deimos can reign supreme in that, being able to ping out to the exact location that they're standing with those gadgets, as long as he's had somebody scan the operator before, could be pretty huge, especially if the Deimos is able to keep himself in some relative safety while it's going off, because one of the fun parts, Deimos pinged out too when his gadget is active and tracking. So you're going to see the Buck get in and start to grab some of that. Woo-hoo-hoo! Start to grab some of that verticality, start opening it up, but it's going to be Cyber getting taken off the board really quickly, as it's going to be the fight on red, and there we go, Deimos and that pistol already going to find the mutant. That's going to equalize the body balance as they're pushing into Piano. Got a bit of an exchange here on the bar, and he is pinged out. So as you can see, it's given his location around two. He's able to get that communication to the rest of the team. Gridlock next to fall, and advantage is sitting on the defense side.
Well, yeah, my next point was going to be the fact that Deimos on his own is pretty pointless. He's not that great of an operator, but another operator that isn't really too great on his own is Jackal. And, well, together they're really oppressive. So we've been seeing a lot of these teams, you know, play with this Jackal, with this Deimos, just sort of hand in hand, both together. And with Deimos' pistol being as good as it is one of those where you can just kind of run and gun as if it's a DMR. So we are seeing a bit of that on Risk right now, as he is going to be pinging out the Solace, trying to see if he can take the engagement. And though he is very weak, he still has one of those drones remaining. Once it's charged, we'll be trying to find her again.
Yeah, and I think this is where the situation really starts to play out for the Deimos, right? Is in this 2v2 situation where he just needs that intel on where one of them is sitting. Turn the gadget on, get the intel, turn it back off, make this push in. But instead, gonna take it directly to site, and it's gonna be Thermite going for the plant, gonna take the swing, but Solus gonna find it off the back of the P90. They get the plant down, but it is immediately rectified as the defense gonna take themselves another round on the primary and the secondary sites.
Defender mission successful.
Yeah, that's crazy. I really didn't expect that, but the swing close from the Solace was absolutely perfect. Being able to, you know, come around that corner, know where he is, you know, just keep track of these players and the rotations they're making in general is absolutely phenomenal. It's something you really like to see from a lot of these teams, and realistically, I really hope that they're able to keep that coordination up, because the Frost swinging on the Thermite did make sure that, well, the Thermite couldn't exactly cover, and even if he did, it meant Deimos couldn't cover the opposite way. So we were looking at a situation where that perfectly timed swing from those two defenders really just saved the round. Like, both of them being able to take a 1v1 saved the round entirely, because even if one of them dies, so long as they're able to, you know, get themselves tucked in cover after finding their kill, the other one can still clean up that round. So it's not lost, and as they managed to find it together, it secured them a win. So
yeah. So now we're going to see some of that tertiary side play, Naj, and one of my favorite parts about Cafe, because and the difference between like some NA and EU style that we get to see here, right? When me and you cast in the NA, we see these first or these second floor sites being played in the primary position, that verticality being necessary immediately. Here in the EU, we're looking at it being the terse site, kind of still staying in that a little nod towards tradition, if you will. And they're going to use the castle to do it, to really solidify up top. Although, no crossfire or head holes set up across the board to hold on to that verticality. It's a bit of an interesting play.
yeah, I think the main goal for the side of Arrow here, or not Arrow, for the side of Pulsar, is to really just sort of pressure. They're probably not going to be hunting for anything, because I doubt they're really comfortable playing up on this top floor, especially against a team as formidable. But they are definitely going to be looking to try and pressure these players, and, you know, having those castle barricades up, having those swing potential opportunities available to them is going to be perfect. Solace does lose her life from getting a bit extended inside of Piano. I don't really know what happened to Amai, but now we're going to be in this position where it's going to be left to Castle on this second floor to actually be able to his team.
And there is one of the problems, right? No head hole set up means they're going to be able to push up and find that kill fairly easily, as there's really nowhere to run. No exit plan, no plan B. And that's going to put body balance heavily in favor of Aero Gaming now as they find themselves in a 5v2, and it's just really starting to hunt down where the heck these defenders are. Now they find one because Tonio is going to be finding a kill off the back of Vector, making the body balance a little bit closer, but still quite a mountain to climb up.
Indeed it is, well, doesn't look to go well. Be a bit of a 1 versus 4 right now, as Eva is going to be just rotating around that top floor, going to be looking for the vertical pressure for himself. Player gets noticed on the side of Cocktail. A beautiful little pre-fire from him does manage to clean it up. He finds another onto the man in the post plant as he's got the plant down. 2 left to find. There's one is going to be on that 3rd floor with it. He's going to be trying to take the peek onto the balcony, and it is going to be Cyber to find the kill. Deba, unfortunately, catches a bullet between his own eyes. And now the round's over.
So something that we love to see, Naj, when we're seeing this extension up top with the castles, it's really, honestly, we got to have a way to defend it, right? If we're completely taking up those top walls, yes, we've got the verticality established, but we've got no way to defend the verticality, and that just proved to be the case here as they were systematically taken out one by one. As the attacking team was just really able to isolate these players up top and take these engagements on a more advantageous level to the attack team.
Yeah, there's two ways you can have any hold, and this might open eyes for a few feeders that play ranked. But there's 2 ways to play a lot of these holds, and that is you play with a backup plan, and you have your backup plan B, a means of escape. So that castle set up in Cocktail, with the freezer walls reinforced, and the only real rotate coming from over in Piano is going to be that vaulting rotate into Bathroom, which is all fully reinforced as well, or like was, in the default strat, but they actually didn't. Then you have the hatch open in Cocktail, and you're able to drop off into the site and, fall away if need be. The other way you can play it is also with a backup plan, but this time in a position with either utility or a distraction in order to be able to net yourself a kill, or at least an advantage in a gunfight, to then take that engagement and come out with a trade. And the problem that Pulsar had was they weren't able to find that 3 engagements in a row. They lost Solace, they lost Wamai, and then they lost Castle. So that's 3 engagements in a row that you aren't able to find your trade, you aren't able to get that player back to safety. Castle played in a corner. So you're stuck in that situation. You weren't able to rotate back into Cocktail to hide behind the reinforcement or the castle barricade. You weren't able to rotate over towards the hatch, which wasn't open in the first place. And you weren't able to actually get yourself into a position over towards the white stairs to actually escape. So we're looking at a position where it's so hard for these defenders to actually do anything because their positioning's bad.
Sheesh. Starting to fall apart for the defense here, as we did see some trades ring out, taking us into a 3-3, but it's the kill off held door. It's going to give the body bounce tipped in favor of Aero Gaming here, as now they find themselves up by a large margin, right? Up by 2 in the body count. Really just taking a ton of this control, and now it's going to be with Azami with all to do is she's going to have to start to defend this backside and make their push up.
They do, and in this 1v3 situation, the Azami is going to be hovering around this Cocktail double door. The man on the rappel drops off, and it's going to be the Gridlock to start making our way up the white stairs. Eva Barricade goes out onto the window close by in order to give her a bit of cover, and now she's going to be rotating back over towards the far side. She sees the drone. She is going to be trying to take the swing onto the window. Isn't going to be able to find the kill for now, and is going to be able to find the man on white stairs. That's a perfect shot for her. Trying to take the swing once again onto the man that has rappelled in. Takes another one onto the Dokubi that is going to be at the top of white stairs, but Eva the Devil, she finds the kill, and that's going to be another round in favour of Aero. And we're looking at a fairly even game.
Yeah, you're right. We take ourselves to that 2-2 split as the adaptation has occurred, and that was a disgusting shot. Takes a bit of damage, turns around and fires on the Wamai. It's the LMG with enough bullets to kill them all. And can we just point it out? Can we just say it? ACOGs, oh my lord. Of course we knew they were going to be present and a
so
clear
bad.
and present danger, but they are here, baby.
They're so bad. I am so happy with the ACOG change because it means I can be a support and just fight.
Just
still
fine.
have a long angle.
Some great individual effort
Rather
there
than,
by the
like-
Azami in the last part of it, but it was just a great push as they did exactly what they did on round number 3, where they came in and they just isolated the player. They pushed it at the same time, and that's going to be one in favor of the attack again. We're tied up, Naj, 2-2.
Yeah. I mean,
Sheesh.
something I was just going to add is I don't want to be sat eating my monitor with a hollow, so that's it's not exactly my style of play. But either way, we are very much looking at an even game. We're looking at a blitz by any sort of stretch of the word. So now we're going to be seeing a bit of an aggressive take by the looks of things. We have a Lion, we have a Blitz, we've got an Ash, we've got a Nomad, and we've got the Ace. The Ace is going to be there to get the breach while the Blitz starts to get active inside of prep. The Nomad's going to be there to recover the flank as you kind of expect. The Ash is going to be there to just run in behind the Blitz and deal with anybody that tries to get a bit of an angle on the side of the Blitz in general. And then, well, the Lion's going to be there to stop you from walking around so they can shoot you better.
Finds one. The trade rings out. Now takes us into a 4-4. The Blitz to fall. Ace to fall next. Now given a body bounce. Tipped over to Pulsars. They find the trade. Now takes us into a 3-3. Into a 2-2 as the trades ring out again. Folks, this is in the first minute of gameplay, and we find ourselves in a low health scenario here as both the Nomad and the Legion. Legion gonna get ripped down in his prime. Now into a 2v1. As the plant is starting to go down, and it is all on the shoulders of Solus. And you hear the Nomad air jets. Now,
This has to be a 4K to win here if she's going to be able to find it. She has got a down onto Risk, and if she's finding this one, it's going to be the quad.
My lord.
Risk is going to fall as the air jab just stalls for time, and that is going to be the round in favor of these defenders. Pulsar, pull one out of their ass in this situation right now.
It's one of the reasons, Notch, that we see the Solus banned out so often. Why? Gadget, good. Guns, good. Movement, good. And there it is. Pulls out the quad piece to take that round off the back of some individual heroics for the defense. So we find ourselves up 3-2, but maybe not necessarily that it should have been there.
Yeah, if you just have, like, even... If you have the mechanical skills of the players in this game, and you also have, like, some semblance of a brain cell for flanks and things like that, as long as your positioning's good, you're just gonna absolutely fry everybody. So it's like, you're in this position where it is just the most valuable operator in the lineup at the moment, because of just how good her kit is, how good, her movement is. She's a 2-speed, like, she's not slow. And even if you are one of these players that doesn't exactly, like, pop a head straight away, yes, the gun's weak, but it's one of the highest fire rate guns in the game. And it has a 51 round mag?
Yeah, 51. Enough bullets to kill everybody.
Exactly, like, you can pre-fire like 20 bullets before you actually swing. So, yeah, you're not exactly worried carrying around a P90 and an SMG-11, and even if you don't want to do that, if you're confident in your SMG-11 skills, you can run the SMG-11 and you can whack on the SPAS. And you can run around with that, make yourself some rotates on the fly, open up some hatches, all of that. All of that good stuff.
I want to live in a world where the Solus is running with the shotgun. I want that.
Oh, trust me, EFAC does it. Watch the BDS game that was played the other day.
I'm with it.
EFAC was running around every single defender around with that shotgun in hand, and he flies with it, man.
I love it. Absolutely love it. Okay, so we find ourselves on the last round of the half of the first map here. or the first match, and we're heading back up to that 2F. We're going to see the Azami taking over that piano area again. It is going to be Hellboy to find Cyber off the board, and that's going to be some of that intel that's gone, the infinity intel of Ayana. Takes the body bounce tipped in favor of Pulsar here. So they're trying to hold on and take us into a bit of that standard split, the 4-2 direction.
It is. Now I'm seeing a very clumped up Pulsar right now. We are looking at a very strong turtle fortituded hold right now, as it is going to be the Valkyrie to tuck herself in the corner. Hypsy finds one for himself, and that's going to be a man on the white window to find that kill as well. The Melusi takes a bit of an engagement, a bit scrappy from the Yana there, but, well, frag still goes in favor of these defenders.
I'm reloading.
Ooh, some siege timing there. Freezer not going to be able to find the kill, but it is going to get traded out, and that's going to be the defense coming up huge and ending us on that standard split. So while it was close at round number 4, it was back-to-backs that take us into a bit of that standard. No 3-3 to be had here.
Not yet.
Which is, I mean, I was looking at it. That's what I thought was coming for sure.
But for the fans sitting at home and, well, all of the other production members that are participating, something we really have to take note of now is whether they can translate that onto the attack. Because something that was noticed in the Wolves game that was played the other day, something that, you know, Whiskey Glitter tweeted about, was the fact that we're in this defender meta right now. And it's one thing to put up numbers on the defense. If you're not able to back that up with your offense, and you get a bit embarrassed. We saw M80 lose from their 4-2 split. We saw Wolves do pretty much the same, but even further away. Hell, at SI we saw, what? Who was it? It was a 5-1 half, I know that much, that went the other way in map 3 of a best of 3. So, and it wasn't even on Sky. So we're looking at, like, this defender meta be super, super prevalent right now. And realistically, if Arrow have any sort of semblance of control, or more control, in comparison to what the side of Pulsar do, then we could be seeing a very, very dominant half for the opposite side. So, cross your fingers and every other appendage that you may have, because this could be a bit of a scary one.
Yeah, so let's talk about the adaptation here, right? It's much the same here for the defensive lineup, right? We're still seeing that intel deny with the mute on the board being huge, the shotguns being, oh. Well, that was little bit of a caster curse as mute gets taken down off the board, but I was going to say the adaptation here, the difference, we're not seeing a zombie for the defense. Instead, we're opting for the castle in the 3F location, which I like, right? It still lends to that site reconstruction. It still kind of funnels the attacker team into where you want it, but it's a little less mobile. It's a little less moldable. It is going to be hype to get taken off the board as Melusi falls quite behind, and now we find ourselves in a 4v3 situation. Minute and 40 left on board.
Well, nearly loses his life as he is going to be grazed by the bullets of Ents. Reading words isn't exactly my forte, but one thing I do very well is read into these strats, and we are going to be seeing the castle on the balcony just get caught out a little bit by the man that is going to be walking across the bar side, and well, Wamai finds another one on post freezer door, but Ash is there on the rotate in order to be able to find the kill for herself, ending the round in favour of this attacking side, and it's going to be a timeout for the side of Arrow.
Yeah, and that's not a bad play here, right? Because now we find ourselves in a bit of a position, right? Taking the first on your attacking half is absolutely huge. You expect 1 to 2 to be 1. That's why we call it that standard split. But to come and take it right out the gate on the defense's primary site location, the one that you feel that you're defending probably the best, to start your momentum, well, that could start to play into a little bit of that mental. So now they got to sit and talk about it. Maybe try to stall them out just a bit.
Yeah, definitely. They're going to be more than likely just discussing with each other and or the coach, depending on if, you know, they actually have one. Because I know a few of these teams are, you know, kind of missing that at the moment. But we're more than likely going to be seeing them sit here and really discuss what they want from these rounds, because at the moment we're seeing a lot of disconjointed play. We're seeing a lot of sort of people, like wandering from the positions that realistically they probably should be sticking to, and that's kind of what's costing them a little bit here. We're seeing a lot of that. I don't know the right word. That sort of broken positioning from these players on the defense. So I think that round alone should be enough for them to really learn to just it's sort of like a slap on the wrist, to just chill, hold your positions, have your person that's on the roam do their thing, make your call outs, coordinate with each other, and get yourself into a bit better of a mindset coming into this second half.
Yeah, I like it. And how do they do that? What are they doing for it? Well, it's going to be much the same, but we're going to introduce 2 trap pops to the board. Frost's going to be on the board. Here's the highlight pick, I think, though, for the adaptation. Capcan going to be brought out. Yeah, that's right. The sixth man who can make you have to watch every single door, every single window that you're coming in. And what does it do? It slows down the attacking team because it forces them, even if you don't get a kill, right? Even if you just know he's on the board, it just makes you have to incredibly slow pace or slow yourself down, and it allows the defense.
Yo, it's out.
Pace.
Sorry, I just noticed what the Solace is running. I need to whack open Siege after this game and quickly buy the new R6 share skins because they're out. Yeah, I forgot they were coming out today. Anyway, we are going to be looking at, a lot of stall, as you said. We're seeing the Wamai for utility stall. We're seeing the Mute for utility stall. We're seeing Wamai put a bullet in someone's head for utility active stall. And yeah, it's like there's a lot of stall on this this defending side. The Capcan's there for active stall. The Solace is there for active stall. The Frost is there for active stall. Well, passive, to be fair. And then the Wamai and Mute are utility. So it's just going to be trying to slow down this this push as much as possible. And realistically, you'd be pretty confident unless you're playing against Virtus Pro. So lucky for this defending side, they are going to be playing against a bit less of a formidable team than the team that nearly won SI. So, well done to them. Managed to actually, bring that stall into fruition, get themselves a bit of a round win, and get themselves a bit of a leg up in this half. Because realistically, that's going to be a huge confidence boost. Being able to put yourself to 5-3, yes, it's 5-3, yes, the game could still end at a wide margin, 7-3, but now they're only 2 rounds away, and that's something that they're going to be thinking. They're only 2 rounds away from this equalization. They're only 4 rounds away from winning.
Yeah, you're right. There's a big difference between 6-2 and 5-3, and it's the timeout buff that does fall into effect here. Generally, we see it that if you take the timeout, the team that takes the timeout has a 75% chance more likely to win the next round. Now, obviously, it doesn't happen every time. That's why it's 75%, but more than likely, you're going to be able to find your round win off the back of that, and they do bring us a little bit closer. So back up to that 3F location, and they're going to run back the same strat.
Yeah, it's all about that mental reset. All about being able to talk with each other and also the coach, if you do have one, in order to be able to, just rekindle yourself, rekindle that fire, get yourself ready to, come into the next round and really just give them hell. So we are going to be seeing a bit of an aggressive peak from Cyber on that double window inside a pillar. But it is going to be caught out by Yari as, well, that's going to be his life over.
That's so crazy. I thought the cam was a person and we were seeing the rappel mechanic quickly getting into the building. I was like, oh boy. Not going to be the case. They are going to take Frost off the board, first to fall for the defense, and that feels pretty good if you're on the side of Pulsar, because they keep finding that early lead advantage, and they're capitalizing, right? We're seeing ourselves here at 5-3, and they're going to start to open up ticket. They've got the castle to make sure that they're not going to be pushing in through that CL location, and the Mute to make sure that they're not taking a look. Ash the next to fall, so the body count gets equalized.
Indeed it does, and it's going to be the Thinker just hovering around on that cigar hatch. Just waiting. patiently in order to be able to try and catch out a man that's going to be playing in Shiko. We have a few of these players drop down onto red, and it's going to be the Beast Coast scared of risk in order to, you know, quickly find a bit of a shot into the Crondolium of Ace that's going to be standing on top of the stairs. Eba finds another one onto risk, returning the favor, as now we're going to be seeing a 3 versus 3 situation. The Wamai still postured up inside of this freezer, just waiting for the man to try and go for the cross on this, or on this side of Yana.
So are we gonna bringing out that mute jammer, getting taken off the board, which is gonna allow Flores to start doing his work, setting in those Rotero drones, get rid of some of that extension and site util, specifically. Oh, jeez! Specifically those castles. Now they're not gonna take it off piano. Why? That stops the rotate, allows them to get in for a plant and push on this pixel area together. So 3-3 with 54 seconds left on the board. Ooh, Buck to find one, another to fall, and it is just gonna fall apart quickly for the defense. It's the attack as Pulsar are gonna find themselves on a match point scenario.
That was a wonderful double from the Buck there. He managed to find one on the, the tight angle through onto Cocktail, and also another one through onto the freezer from Cigar. So, positions like that are going to get you into a much better frame of mind coming into the round, because obviously you're just able to quickly deal with a few of these players, able to quickly, put them to bed, and just move on with the rest of the round. And I think that, especially when you're playing against a lineup that's so stall heavy, because even now, like, we're looking at the side of Arrow, and they're bringing along those 4 stall operators if you include Legion. Legion nowadays is usually used for shield counter and intel. So we are going to be looking at like the one intel op, which is just a replacement for the Solace at the end of the day, like this Valkyrie being brought in. And now we're going to be seeing Legion alongside it, which is another stall operator. So we're seeing like a lot of this active stall being, switched between itself.
So we head to that 2F location, and there is a stark difference between how it was played out between these two teams, right? On one hand, we brought the castle for the 2F location on the side of the Pulsar defense, so not going to be the case here. You're right. We're leaning into some of that more lethal bit of Stall City here. The Capcan going to be back on the board. No Bravo to deal with it, but they, of course, did bring the IQ, one of the direct counters. And they're going to just start getting into this verticality and this 3F location just about immediately. Ram on the board to help with that, as she's going to try and create that real fish in a barrel situation.
Yeah, it's about being dynamic for these teams, I think. The main thing they're going to be looking for, okay, C4. They're obviously not going to be looking for that as well. Now 2 players are dead. Make that 3 as Ants is going to be able to find another one, and it's only just now been tussled back for a bit of control. So we're going to be seeing 4 versus 2 this early into the round. We barely made it a minute in before seeing 3 people fall on one side. The IQ and the Ash, the last 2 standing. Not a lot of utility to be able to get themselves further and driven down in towards the side, but quite a bit of vertical pressure still to be applied with these Ash charges.
Yeah, to start opening up that soft bridge and taking a look into side, see if they can pick off some of these defenders one at a time. Here's the deal, is you don't want to give Pulsar a chance to get some of those individual... Does get sussed out, it's going to be taking the swing, and it's going to find one off the trade. Now takes us into a low health scenario, as it's all with IQ.
Where did Valkyrie find that kill from?
I don't know. Through the double, I believe?
Attackers recovered the defuse.
Oh, she was top white.
Yeah, top white through the double.
That's crazy, because I didn't even process that. I saw Valkyrie in the kill feed, and I was like, wait a minute. What happened there? So now IQ's all confused, looking for the Valkyrie. Assumes she's going to be on site, makes his way down, isn't going to be aware that she's going to be tucked in this corner. Now she's going to be approaching to take the swing, peeking through the bomb chassis as well. It's going to be IQ to lose and fall through the crack in the chassis, and well, we move on to yet another round. 6-4.
Okay. Okay, scoreline starts to get a little bit closer to getting equalized. Need to find a couple of more impactful bits of play here on the defense. But I mean, two more, perfect for two more, and we find ourselves in a bit of an overtime and a chance for Arrow to bring theirself a chance to bring it back.
Yeah, that's a question. Are we going to be seeing OT in our first match of the day?
You know what?
They can.
I'm here for it. I'm trying to
So am I.
soak up as much siege as I can, and on two relatively unknown teams to us, I think this could OT give us a little bit more insight into how we're going to see or how these teams are going to react when the pressure is on.
Yeah, because that's something that we really can't take away from this matchup as a whole. This could be insanely even, just for a lot of these team, or just for a lot of these people that are watching right now. This game could be insanely even between the two of them. But the moment they come up against a powerhouse, we could see one of them excel
10
and the other
seconds
one
remaining.
fall off. So it's very nice to see this game be even because I
5
really
seconds to
want to
go.
see a lot from both of these teams in order to be able to see what we can expect from them in the future.
Attackers
Um,
must
but
locate and defuse a bomb.
I am a little skeptical of whether they're going to be able to maintain that consistency coming up against a much more formidable opponent. And I'm thinking somebody maybe along the lines of the Minions or the Misclick, which we have seen do so well in the past.
Yeah, you're potentially right. We're talking longevity here. What does longevity bring? It gives you a bit of that communication. You start to see movements a little bit more coordinated. So potentially could be the difference maker. Now, the pre-fire through the small bag window there, and it's going to not find anything. It is the blitz ready to get active. These are going to come out, and that's going to be the Wamai to get taken down off the back of the pistol from Ace, and now pushes into the prep area, just making huge moves, gets inside, goes for the blind, takes the pistol, is gonna get him, maybe? I don't know, jeez. Now, here's one of those new mechanics. He's able to reload behind his shield, and it's just falling apart for the defense. 5v2 now, a 5v1. It all rests on the shoulders of the aforementioned Capcan. With all to do, takes a shot from the freezer, comes around, it's the blitz that blinds him full white, and it's gonna be a flawless round for the attack team to come in and end this one quickly.
And that's the confidence the opposite side didn't have, as they do get themselves a victory by using that blitz rush in order to be able to, oh, I'm dropping things. They get themselves just driven into the site, and that's the thing that we didn't see on the opposite side. The opposite side wasn't actually able to, just force that issue. When they were playing on the attack, they hit around inside of prep for a little bit with a blitz and danced and dodged and ducked and weaved, but overall they ended up going back towards the rotate and seeing if they could take engagements that way. I'm not sure if they won. Oh no, they didn't. They lost because it was the 2v2 with Frost and Solace taking swings in the post plant. So it's one of those where, like, because they weren't able to really like identify themselves in sight, they weren't actually able to secure that round win. Whereas on the opposite side, we saw the complete opposite. So very, very interesting style of play, and I'm very excited to see what more we can expect from Pulsar, and also what we can see on the adaptability standpoint from Aero coming into game number 2.
Yep. So that was definitely it was definitely a blast to watch. Right. It was good to see these two teams go back and forth. The aggression in the end won it. We said if you got a well put together attack strat, they were ready for that bakery, and then that was Bob Drunkle. That was it. Done. So now we find ourselves getting ready for game number 2, folks. So we're gonna get the lobby set up. So if you could sit back, relax, because when we come back, it's gonna be a second map. Heyo.
Let's go.
What's up, and welcome back, fellow Siege spectators and players. If you're just joining us, well, welcome. We're happy to have you here. A lot of Siege you could be watching, and we're happy that you're hanging out with us here for the ESA Cup. Missed one best of one, but got 2 more coming back at you. I am still the Reverend Whiskey Glitter, and with me, as always, is Mr. Naj. What's up, Naj?
Well, another phenomenal series of ESA games coming your way, as we are going to be seeing Aspire and AGM coming up next. And these are 2 rosters that we've seen before, and both have been pretty strong. SDF came up, Aspire came off to a pretty slow start initially in, I think, the last season. And then AGM had a pretty dominant start, but then a pretty slow sort of grind to a halt. So we're going to be looking at the way these two teams decide to come into this tournament again, and we're going to be seeing if they can come in with that sort of explosiveness that they both were able to find at one point or another. So yeah, where do you want to go from here, Mr. Glitter, Mr. Whiskey Glitty?
Well, here's what I want to talk about the social vote, right? What does everybody think of the way that this is going to go? And it's kind of very similar along the lines, although reversed on which side it went to. 67 of you thought that it was going to go into the favor of Aspire. Only a mere 33 in the favor of AGM. And, I mean, I could see it, right? And who is going to have the better attack? We're going to get back into that same thing, right? And I think that's whoever's going to have that more aggressive attack. I think it would be probably along the Aspire side of it myself, man.
Yeah, something that is a bit rough to touch on is the fact that at the moment, like AGM have just kind of stagnated. We are going to be going over to the predictions, as you can see, the wonderful production predictions, and well, we're going to be seeing once again a fairly even split. It's 3 on page 1 for Aspire, and then 3 for AGM as well, I think, and then 2-3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's going to be slightly in favor of Aspire, but realistically, it's as 50-50 as it can get.
Mm-hmm.
We're just going to be having to wait and see. Yeah, one thing that's a bit rough to touch on, as I was saying before, is AGM have kind of stagnated in their ability, and we're seeing like a lot of teams kind of catch up to the explosive start that they had in the last series of ESA. But on the opposite side, Aspire have done nothing but climb. Yes, it's been very slowly. Yes, it's been very surely. But we've been seeing them climb, and we can see that in their like progress in other leagues and other cups going on right now. But we are going to be going to the map bans. You want to run us through those?
Yep. And this is going to be a bit of a fun one, right? You're kind of starting to see this switch between the standard 3 getting taken off the board. Well, this is going to be Chalet, Oregon, and Clubhouse all gone. Bank to Follow and Consulate, which is the 2 maps that you were touching on earlier. No new maps. We are going to be heading to Border, my second favorite map, and just in, the first time that we're seeing it this season as well. Border, it's great. All that soft breach potential. That means if somebody like a Solus is left on the board, which, fingers crossed, could see some really fun wall bangs or runouts coming.
Yeah, I have a lot of question marks about Border. Border's one of those maps that's... I've said it before, I'll say it again. It's one of those maps that can be forced by these teams, and I think if one team's able to force it into another team to play their play style, then it becomes a bit of a whitewash. And the thing about it is that pace is kind of determined by the attackers, because the defense choose their play style and the attackers choose whether they play into it or not. So we're gonna have to see sort of how they actually decide to play the game. But not quite sure what sides they're going to be starting on.
So what we did have, of course, before that defensive meta that was really so prevalent, it was an attacker side of map. So you're exactly right. Which way is the attack going to be able to adapt to what we're bringing? Almost surely we can see that 2F start. It's a primary site where everybody goes first. Now, we could see, one of the tertias being brought out, one of those first floors as kind of a first site, but not generally. We're going to tell the style of gameplay, Naj, based off what they're banning right here.
Exactly, and it's Border. Once again, we're going to be seeing that Ying go off the board. Ying will 100% go off. And more than likely, we're going to be seeing, as I said before, something like that Doki. Something like maybe the Nomad if they decide to want to try and play aggressive. Maybe the Finker if they want to be disruptive. Maybe the Ace if they want to be disruptive. It could be anything, but more than likely, we're going to be seeing the Dekebi follow. Just generally based on broader statistics and the way the game's played, but we are going to be seeing the Monty. That's one of those that he's a very drive and a force and a pressure through on these far sides, and shields are becoming a bit more prevalent as people are still learning to play against them. On the defensive side, we've got the big 5 everyone knows about, but realistically it's Fenrir, Solus or Azami that's going off the board. One of those 3, Azami's the first one down, and now We have Solus and Fenrir left standing in this situation. But we could also see Capcan because some people are weird and they really don't want to play against them hallway traps. It's going to be Solus.
It's going to be the Solus off the board. Which means, of course, that we're going to have some pretty strong operators on the defense. You talked about the top 5. Valkyrie, Mira, and Fenrir are all going to be still left to be utilized. Fenrir going to be huge for those late round pushes, especially since we sit in that 20-second meta arena. Fairly standard as far as bans went, though. I mean, it's border. We saw that LatAm has a 20% ban rate on the Monty. That's for a reason, right? They've got the finger on the pulse. They're dictating how our metas change, and you can start to see that starting to drift into our playstyles as well. So Monty banned out. Huge pick.
Well, something that a lot of the LATAM teams have as an advantage is the fact that with Brazil being its own region now, they have those Brazilian teams to play against. So it's a lot of what we see in today's age where they're kind of learning from each other. They're able to play sort of cross-regionally because they are technically different regions. They're also able to play against the just general Americans and the Mexican teams. And we are seeing a lot of them just shape the way we play the game currently. But some familiar faces going to be in here. Faces that I've casted before and I've seen do very, very well. Pretty much everybody on the side of Aspire, apart from Nerdy and Nexus. And specifically, Vapex and Sync on the opposite side. They're two players that I have seen do very, very well, and seeing them together in the same home on the side of AGM is going to be a bit interesting, to say the least, as Vapex is going to be choosing to get pretty aggressive very early. I love the Bravo pick.
Oh, I also love the Bravo pick, especially when we have somebody on the board like a Fenrir, right? If you get caught in your own Fenrir in a late round position, shots on top of metal already, as Buck trying to get some of that verticality established, maybe try to get that early entry kill off the board. It's a pretty close call, but not going to amount to anything as we still sit 5-5. Buck going to be raining from below as long as he can dislodge the player that was playing down there. They did already rotate back out of that workshop area.
Indeed he is now we're going to be seeing a bit of an engagement on the top of the east stairs. The man over towards the eastern balcony is going to be just tapping some shots through onto the site. Buck of Vapex going to be just hovering around below right now, playing on that hatch pressure inside of the office. And well, Kesh doesn't really want to do anything towards that side, as there is going to be footholds along the entirety of the triple wall, that jail wall, as people do decide to call it. I don't know why. It's in the middle of bloody archives. But we're going to be seeing a bit more of an aggressive playstyle from these defenders. They have that mirror window over towards the office side, and well, they're going to be just stalling them out pretty much as long as possible. You have this mirror. Mirror's one of them pretty like effective stall operators. And, well, first last charge going to be caught out. Second one does reach its mark, but Mayan Buck going to be in a bit of a tussle as Buck does get injured. Kesh falls as well. Now, Hotspur, J9 going to be trying to get aggressive, finds the pick on a beautiful little pixel peek as he notices the deployable shield that's going to be watching over these footholds. And now, with the aggression from this mirror, he is going to choose to, you know, just play his position. He finds another one on a longer angle, as now it's going to be left to Casper and Carol to try and find these for themselves. And, well, something that the attackers haven't yet taken advantage of is the fact that Casper doesn't really have much of a crossfire onto the metal side. He does find one onto the man outside and moves himself into a much better position, as now it's going to be the Brava to try and get aggressive on the behind, and isn't able to find it, as now Sink going to be left alone in this position, gets caught up by a Frostman, and that's going to be the first round to Aspire.
Man, the Frostmat, even after its change, it is still almost certain death should you find yourself falling into it. The Vector to claim 2 at the end there to clean it up, and yeah, you said it, one in favor of the defense as they start to get active early.
Exactly, this pace is dictated by these attackers. The attackers are moving way too slow. If the attackers start moving quicker, then they can start to pressure a bit harder, and they can start putting a few more of these sort of strategies into a bit more of a, you know, annoying position for these teams. And the main thing I'm really noticing at the moment is, as I said, they're just moving too slow. They're not using their utility as quickly as maybe they could, and they're not really doing the things they could be in order to try and get themselves into these better positions earlier. So I think that if they're really able to just sort of like dislodge a few of these players, maybe be aware of the utility that they're pushing into, use a few more of these drones in this downtime. There's a lot of downtime where you only really need 2 players active. Get everyone else on drones. Start spotting things out. Get some pre-placed around the site, in the site, across the
10
office.
seconds to go.
And that's something that we're not really seeing right now. That's the main problem
5
from the
seconds
previous
left
round.
before insertion.
And I think that if they're able to acknowledge that, even very briefly,
Attackers' objective is to locate a bomb.
I think they'll be able to come out of this with a much better scoreline than what it looks like it's going to be after such a phenomenal clutch from Aspire.
Yeah, and the clutch from Aspire, it looks like they're going to try to kind of bring something similar to the table. They've got double it up on the intel. There's both the Pulse and the Valkyrie going to be alive, well, and active from underneath. You know they're going to go for that vertical. You know it's going to be dedicated towards grabbing as I said, grabbing the vertical quite early, as you have the Buck on the board and the Ram, both operators designed for that. But it is going to be the first default. Buck, yet again, getting active early on, and is going to take the Legion off the board. Why is that a good pick? Not only does it give you that body balance, but his gadget is one that has to work over time. So getting him off the board in the first minute can be huge, and not very many goos that you got to deal with.
Breach charge deployed.
Yeah, indeed, as now, with it being very active utility you have to keep placing throughout the round, it is going to be a bit scary for them as well. They've just kind of sacrificed a lot of it. But speaking of sacrificing a lot of utility, there goes the Buck off the board, and C4 takes off the first buggy. So they're going to be looking for the pick onto, I was going to say they're going to be looking for the pick onto this Ram, but she's already dead. And now we've got J9 and Vapex left alive to try and find the remaining 2 in this situation, both on a sliver of HP. A wet noodle could slap them both across the face and take down these players. We do see Nerdy on full HP with this MPX in hand. Is a pea shooter, but it's all he needs. As now the drones swinging through the site aren't going to be able to locate his position as of this very moment. The dead defenders aren't really utilizing these cams very well, especially considering the guys playing bloody Valkyrie. And now we're going to be seeing these attackers, as I said, just stall it. Chill, get your drones out. You don't need everyone active. You only need one guy active in order to be able to, you know, make sure that you're not being rushed or pushed or whatever else. Everyone else can just get on the drones. And that's what we're seeing.
It is going to be Valkyrie to go ahead and start rotating back upstairs and the plant going down. It's a low health scenario, and they're going to go ahead and stick it. It's post plant now, and it's just going to take a bit of damage from, like you said, it's from the pea shooter. And you got to have 7 seconds on board to get that plant going down. That could be huge.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my lord. Who doesn't end up taking the life? It's going to be the pre-fire through. Going to find one easy. Now takes us into a 1v1, a Western showdown as J9 Hotspur holding the angle. It's going to be the pre-fire, and then they are going to win the round out, even though they were both on such this low HP scenario. Just great cross setup, early engagements, just win in their favor. Let's go.
That is an insane amount of HP to have be the difference between these two teams in round number 2, and that's going to be the first attacking round for them as well. So now we're going to be seeing a 1-1 situation coming into round number 3. We're going to be seeing them a lot. But we are going to be seeing these defenders, you know, be able to bring themselves into more of a, you know, secure position coming into these next couple of rounds, because, well, they know exactly what to expect. They brought themselves into round number 3 playing the same site 2 times now, because they, well, including this round, should I say, because, you know, they've played 2 different sites. But they want to try and, you know, retry this, give it another go, get the win, move on. And more than likely, they're going to go straight back upstairs.
Yeah, it's going to be much the same hold that we watched on the first, and it's, of course, going to be Legion try to stay a little bit more active, as even though he only got 1 or 2 of those goos out, they were still being impactful in the late round in that post-plant scenario. So, yeah, going to try to hold on a little bit longer. It's going to be second first, same as the first, as they're trying to run that back, the classic rank turn. You know what? Run it back. We know we can hold it better. They're going to try it again. And so we're going to see probably a little bit more dedication to the drones as they're going to, want, like you said, want to get that intel early, make sure that they're getting this real estate, but not at a huge cost. And that right there being the big cost, you didn't want to get taken down. Apex off the board. IQ gone. It is going to be the Legion to fall yet again first for the side of the defense. It's that number equalized now as they find themselves in a 4-4. And the battle for 2F.
And it's going to be such a big player down as well. That Vapex pick is going to be so good for the side of Aspire. And they've still got these vertical players alive. Yes, they've lost the Legion again, and realistically, you should probably be a bit more careful with that, you know, that player in pocket. But a man with a gun, an ACOG, and also some passive utility that's already down on the floor, on the ground, ready to be used. It's going to be Carroll, as he's managed to come in, swing 2 people, get 2 kills, and then die to J9 on the opposite side. Yes, he's dead, but now you're in a position where you're in this man advantage situation. They have to once again find a clutch in order to be able to beat you out, and now they're scared. Speaking of scared, I just watched Shaiko get a quad and I want to scream.
Heyo. Okay, so body bounce is tipped in favor of Aspire here as they do sit in that 3-2. It is the C4 to go out and claim one now into a 3v1. It's J9 Hotspur with all to do here in the last minute of the round, and he's 5-1. Definitely somebody who could pull off a 3 if they feed him the bodies. Right? All they got to do is, like you said, slow down, hold the line. Because J9 at that 5-1, he is definitely one to win his ones. So 49 seconds left. He's looking down from the top of metal, going to send in that flash. It is not going to connect. This is holding just directly on the angle needed. Takes him down with ease, and that's going to be another in the favor of the defense.
Keep the MP7. That's the G2 skin, the new one in the shop right now. If you want it, get on the game. Because more than likely, there's a lot more of those that you've not seen yet. There is, unless it's still a leak, I don't know. There is definitely the BDS full kit. There is, I think, a Phase one. I think there's a Talon one. If you're interested in any of those teams, boot up the game, get your wallet out, and just get your R6 share skins. It supports the, you know, the pros and stuff like that. You know, who doesn't want to rep some cool skins?
Yeah. And those are some skins that you can use if you're a comp player, right? Most of the time the leagues say that you can't have certain skins on. Well, those are ones you can use. So flex your style and your skills.
Yeah, because, well, as Gleto was just alluding to there, they don't just come with gun skins. They come with full operator kits that you can use in comp, that are completely verified and also, like, you know, confirmed and stuff like that by big boss people at Ubisoft. And well, at Blast, I guess. And that means that we, you know, have some fun little variations in colour to a few of these operators in the actual pro scene, rather than just seeing them run around in their default uniforms.
Yep. So, okay, round rotate done data. We're going to see the first 3 done. We're going to be able to go back up to that 2F location, primary site, with a 1 adaptation. The Capcan going to be back on the board, which is, of course, huge, right? We talked about him being the tool that can really set the pace for a defense, exactly what you said win conditions were for the defense. So they can hear you because they brought out more of that slow down city where they don't have to actively be engaged to hold them off.
Indeed, and
on the window.
Well, we're seeing once again very, very clumped up attackers. They're going to be going for a similar sort of push onto the same site, and well, this time around, they've brought along the Flores. The Flores going to be there to try and deal with that shield, and they've done it very, very early. But still, obstacles in their way. A repositioned mirror window to keep it safer from these Ash charges is going to be in play, as now the Ash is going to be trying to rotate over towards this 90 corridor, isn't able to find the kill onto the man that is going to be holding on to the far side, and well, while the mirror window is smashed, the other one's still active, and well, they're not really able to do anything against it.
Yeah, so they do find J9 gets taken down. That's a huge pick for the defense, and that's another frost trap that gets taken out. Nexus going to find a double, as now the body bounce shift huge in favor of the defense. Fenrir to fall next off the back of the trade there, and now it's going to be a Nerd with all to do here, and he's going to get taken out quite easily. That's going to be another in the favor of the defense.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of these defenders getting active now. They're starting to find their footing in this game, and that's going to give them a bit more of a stretch of a lead in this situation, in this scenario. If they're able to find one more, it becomes a bit dicey for the opposite side, because a 5-1 half on board is a death sentence. Let's be completely honest.
Absolutely.
So, I'm very, very highly anticipating what the side of Aspire is actually going to be able to bring to the table coming forward into the remainder of this game. But more than likely, it is going to be that sort of dominant play that they have been trying to bring into fruition in the last 2 rounds.
Okay, so we do find them up by 2 in the scoreline, which means we're going to see some more of that first foreplay. Going to opt for the bathroom teller's hold this time instead of vent workshop, and going to bring out more of the slowdown. Now I might be one of my favorite operators to see inside of the comp scene is the Castle, right? I know his win delta, at least in the rank side of things, is not as great, but in a place where you can just completely funnel and redirect and set the pace, Castle is huge. So we see him to potentially go. Well, I was going to say go up top and hold on to it, to put those barricades up, but it looks like he's getting active in that workshop area, in that vent and workshop area instead.
I'm getting genuinely frustrated because my game won't open and all I want to do is buy skins. Either way, we are looking at the moment at these teams just kind of like hustle backwards and forwards, and there's not really a lot going on at this very moment. One thing you were quickly talking about then was the Castle. Castle, one of those operators, it's one of the, I think, 3 that I brought up as being operators that could become a bit more sort of prevalent in these coming playdays. Well, I say playdays, in these coming seasons. And yeah, he is one of the like big 3 for me right now. Those 3 being Castle, being the Nomad, and being the Zero. They're 3 operators that, with their recent changes, Nomad not so much, but with their recent changes, are able to really just sort of like, well, for lack of a better word, fuck around and find out. Like, they're really able to just do things that can be pretty aggressive, can be pretty passive. They're able to shape around on their own. And with the Azami now coming through, I think a combo of these operators on both sides could really be able to, do the things that she was trying to do previously, and or do the things she was doing previously, and now bring them even further into the meta. But 3v3 situation, take us away, Mr. Glitter.
That's right. It's going to be the F2 saying good night as we find ourselves into a 3-3. And it's the first couple of kills that keep being the same off the board. Kesh getting taken down and the Jaeger getting taken down early as well. So 2 droners, well, technically 3, right? We got the Infinity drone of the Ayana as well. So still got some intel on the board. Flash is starting to ring out. So trying to push the player that was inside of the bathroom, trying to really utilize some of this verticality that might have started to be set up before the buck was taken off the board. Not much to be had there, and on the back of the hatch, Twitch getting some of that damage. And they've got them locked now into the, I was going to say locked in, but able to find some relative safety and escape out of there. Is that another frost trap?
Yes, it is, as Nexus is the one to get caught this time. By the looks of things. Oh, it doesn't look... Was it a frostmat? I have no idea. Oh, it wasn't Nexus. I'm looking at the opposite side. Yeah, shut up, man. Shush. I'm losing my head.
I meant the attacker. I didn't mean the line, but yeah.
I meant the attacker, yeah.
So that's the plan starting.
I wasn't paying attention, man. I'm still trying to get my game.
He's trying to get his... He wants his skins. He wants to go buy those skins. Attacker's going to find themselves another win to get us a little bit closer in the scoreline.
I'm going to throw my PC out the window.
Oh man, I
After
love
the cast,
ESA
don't worry.
Cup. I love it. I just love this place. This is my favorite, really. Oh, just a big, huge shout out and thank you to everybody that's hanging out with us. Like we said earlier, there's a lot of Siege you could be watching right now. We just appreciate you hanging with us as we find ourselves on the last round of the first half of the second match.
Set the line. He said the line, chat.
Attackers need to locate and
I'll be here all day, folks. No.
Say the line, Bart.
Say the line.
bomb located by attackers.
Oh my god.
Okay.
I love that. Let's
Heading
hope we
back
don't
down.
lose Casper straight away this time. That's
Or
been the big issue.
Kesh. Yeah,
Yeah.
or Kesh, right?
Facts, to be fair.
Mhm.
We've been seeing like a lot of this Legion just dying very early, and realistically, I think Legion, shockingly enough, is one of those operators that does thrive into the later round and does,
10 seconds left.
you know, have a lot more of an impact the longer he's alive. So stop
5
feeding,
seconds remaining.
please. It's annoying. But yeah, like
Attackers
genuinely
are
though,
moving to
these
defuse the bomb.
very, very like good from the side of Aspire right now. Obviously, losing out the previous round is going to be a bit more of a question mark for them coming into the remainder of the game. But I'm hoping that they are able to turn this around at least a little bit.
Lots of intel on the side of the attackers as we're going to keep bringing that Brava out. Lots of gadgets to be had here, right? And kind of a bold swinging on the rappel. Not afraid of potentially that window peak there, or at least has the intel that nobody's there to take it, although Carol was there to take that engagement early. C4 is out, primed, prepped, and ready. Saying, come on in, the water ain't fine. Could be a huge kill, especially if it's the Brava that they can get off the board so early.
Indeed, as well. At this very point in time, we are going to be seeing it go through and hack a few of these cams, and that was a pretty well-timed click on the jump, as we're now going to be seeing that cam go in favour of the attackers. And well, Legion is still alive this time. Kesh getting caught out a little bit by that Banshee there, as now we're going to be seeing these peaks through the ceiling downwards. He is going to be looking for that Wamai as well. Not Wamai. I'm losing my mind again.
Let's go.
I'm just looking at silhouettes and guessing operators. He's going to be looking for that player that is below, that did, you know, pepper a few shots into him. More than likely going to be something a bit weaker, maybe one of the SMGs of False Valve. But, well, C4 goes out, isn't able to find one this time, as instead it's going to be Nerd to find one in return. But you do see Carol just hovering around this top floor, manages to find one, does a lot of damage to Vapex, and now we're going to be seeing a questionable position for him to be in coming into this later round.
And again, it was Casper to find the first casualty for the defense, and it was Kesh to find the first casualty for the attack team. The difference being Casper able to find themselves a couple of kills, and the Buck being less effective as they're not able to open up that verticality, have to rely on the soft breaches of IQ, and it just falls apart for the defense. Is able to find two, clean it up.
It does.
Ooh.
And a 3-3 half isn't exactly what you want on the side of Aspire, but it also isn't the end of the world. It's one of those positions that you can be in where you're not too worried, because at the end of the day, yes, it's a very defender-sided meta, but realistically, it only shows an average between these two teams. And I think that coming into, you know, the next round, we could be seeing a bit more of, you know, one team taking off in a certain direction. And that could very well be the side of Aspire going onto the attack. They're bringing along the Jackal, more than likely going to be trying to apply that pressure through and onto site very early onto these rumors, try and get that clear on the gun. And, yeah, I think I'd look more from you. Like, you want to go for a full clear. So how you find one up, very of like, you know, cookie cutter on both sides, really.
10 seconds to
So I think that realistically,
5 seconds
we
left.
should see these attackers go for a bit more of a full clear, go for a
Attackers are
bit more of
moving out
that
to locate
vertical
a bomb
pressure
and
from
defuse
below, isolate these power positions, and then try and get themselves a bit of a round win off of that. Because at the moment, we're kind of just seeing a lot of the same.
It's going to be Vapex getting early on the spawn peak, but going to take some damage instead. Oh my lord, almost comes up brilliantly on the siege timing, but unfortunate, not going to be able to get the kill there. We still sit 5 all, but gonna have to dedicate some more drone time to sussing out where the heck these guys are at, because the attack team caught off guard almost twice there.
For the people wondering, by the way, I've seen a lot of people question marking the Russian ACOG. Its lines were made thinner, and also with the actual casing of the ACOG itself, it gives you a lot of peripheral view. So that's why you're seeing a lot of people use it. That's why you're seeing it be favored by a lot of these people. And I mean, it wasn't really something that was opened up to me until recently, but I use a lot of the ACOGs. I think I'm going to start transitioning over towards that Russian ACOG because it is just a very, very good, very clean
Bomb
optic.
located by attackers.
So just give people a bit more of a insight to these players' brains.
And the curse is broken. Nerd going to be the first casualty of war here from the side of the defense. Ooh. And they're going to take Malusi down, and that's going to be the body balance huge in favor of the attacking team here. Potentially, I don't think going to be recoverable here as they're being forced back farther and farther with the tracks coming out, the Flores drones really dislodging these defensive players.
There's like you're going to have to take over on buying skins.
And that's going to be Ace taking a bunch of damage as well as he's able to WASD his way into some safety. It is going to be Nexus to get taken off the board. It's 60 seconds left, and we're sitting 4v3. One at a very low HP. It's going to see the rotate. It's going to look on the East Balk and get dealt with. Two going to ring out now as Kesh gets taken off the board, and now J9 Hotspur with all to do. And he is 8-3, going to have to find himself a quad piece to do it, but it is not going to be the case as his head gets absolutely deleted. Sheesh.
I love that I've disrupted this cast in two ways. I'm like annoying people with like BDS versus Wolves stuff. Mainly my production crew, to be fair. And then I'm also just buying skins mid-cast because I forgot they were coming out today.
You are amazing.
I am just the GOAT. I can't lie.
Attackers need to locate and defend the bomb.
Okay.
Bomb located by attackers.
So, we are in the second half of this match. It is a best of one, folks, so it's a sprint to the finish here. And with the attack going up, we said this was an attacker-sided map before the defensive meta, so to see attack coming out strong, not wholly unexpected here. We are going to head back to the 2F location, run it back, and we're going to do it with basically the same operators. Going to try to stall out some of that intel, though, right? That was proved so huge. That first whole minute, that first 60 seconds was dedicated after the initial engagement with the Goyo was dedicated towards sussing out where the heck these defenders are, and it played out into their favor until proving to be key here.
Yeah, we are.
Oh, I love that free cam work.
We are going to be seeing, once again, like, pretty much the same lineup on the attacking side, and some slight variations on the defense. We're going to be swapping out the Goyo for the Mute, I think, if I remember correctly. Oh, and also the Valk for the Wamai. So, it's going to be one of these situations where we're seeing a bit of the same from these two rosters, but also seeing some slight adaptations, some slight differences to the previous style of play in order to give themselves, you know, a bit more of an advantage, a bit more of that surprise factor going into the next round.
Yeah, bit of a win conditions here. Gonna have to see Kesh start to find his feet, get a couple of kills, start to be a little bit more impactful into the rounds. And that is unfortunate. Caster occurs. We're going to take Kesh right off the board, take him to that 1-8. Can't find himself a kill just recently. Wamai, the next to fall, and that's a huge pick, as that is the frag leader off the board for the defense. He does find the trade, as Nexus going to be, the entry going to be gone. Takes us into a 4-3. Still a minute and 40 left on the board.
Indeed. Minute 40 on the clock, as you just said, and Vapex very isolated right now. A man on the backside towards the CC, and also a man on his window. It is going to be Carol that's making his way in through CC right now, and they have that crossfire in order to catch him out if he does try and make a move. But as he does, he isn't quite caught by the Twitch, but is cleaned up by the Flores as he's going to be hovering around on that eastern balcony, and this 2v4 situation isn't looking very good for these defenders. They lose to Malusi. That's going to be Mark falling, and well, now this 1 versus 4. First one found. Nerd. Beautiful kill from him. He knows that nade came from the nightly corridor, jumps through the window on the explosion in order to be able to, mask it at least a little bit, but the man through the wall is able to find the kill. The metal grate, one of the few metal surfaces that you can shoot through. Oh, I thought it was Twitch that actually found it. One of the few metal surfaces you can actually shoot through, but, well, wasn't the man to find the frag.
Hoo-wee. And so, getting that much closer to finding ourselves in a match point scenario. It was a post plant there that ended up taking the round for the attack team, 1 away from putting themselves close to ending this one. So, you see this defense need to get a little bit more active, right? Slow them down a little bit more. And how do they do that? They're going to bring out the Fenrir, right? It's going to be great for stalling out that push. 5 of those gadgets going to be, 3 of them going to be able to be active. And I think, yeah, if you can't see when you're pushing in, that's really going to start to slow you down. Couple that with the mute to take away that intel on the Malusi and the Frost and the Legion. I'm really going to try to do a lot at slowing them down. I would love to see the castle come out here, or no, actually, I'd like to see the castle come out here.
Yeah, definitely. I'd like to see a few more of these operators that are sort of, becoming a little prevalent in the meta right now. Things like that Nomad, that Zero. We are seeing Nomad on side of Nerdy right now, and I mean, Castle is one that we did see quite a bit last game. So potentially could be seeing a bit more of him coming forward.
Yeah, well, here's the problem, right? We're bringing the same operators, we're running the same strat, but it's just not quite working, right? Let's bring something that will dedicate some utility to get rid of it and, give that sound cue and, of course, slow them down, really let you know where, or funnel the attack team into where that they're, instead of where they want to push them into where you want them to be at. But it's going to be some real dedicated time, some investment in getting these drones in sight. Bravo getting active very early. I'm going to lose that clutch drone, however, and I believe, is that both of them gone now?
Yeah,
I think both of them gone.
I think it is. As now, they're not going to be able to actually secure themselves any of this this hacking utility. Instead, they're going to be just trying to utilize the drones she has left for a bit of that intelligence work. And, well, Nexus isn't going to be able to find the kill. So they might have the intelligence, but they clearly don't have the reaction time. So now we see these defenders in a bit of a safer position.
Yep, and it is going to be Bravo pushing into that 2F, going to start taking over into the fountain area, just claiming a ton of real estate, going to start getting active on that verticality. Folks, it's a minute and a half, and we still, I was about to say that we're still sitting in that 5-all, but it is going to be Bravo to find the first kill. It is going to get downed almost immediately afterwards. Now potentially going to be picked up, and that is going to be the rescue there, as Carol going to find the kill onto J9, and that is yet again the top frag getting taken down. Now, of course, Nerd still alive, and sitting, holding on to that same top frag position. Now, they know exactly where they're at, though. As that Legion goo goes out, there's 2 members at the top of the metal area. This takes us into a 5v3, 50 seconds left. We're going to have to see this attack team start to get active towards that objective.
Indeed they are, as now Buck going to be applying that vertical pressure, just getting the angles that he needs in order to be able to cover onto this plant. And with it being a 3 versus 5, it is a bit dire for these defenders. Do or die now, as Kesh going to be over towards this bottom metal stairs, looking for the kill of his life, as he is going to be trying to find it. Finds the first onto IQ. That's going to get a bit of an opening to his teammates as well. They're going to have to try and make the rotation across site. Kesh goes for it first, loses out to the Nomad of Nerdy. And, well, who else do you want on the flank watch than the Nomad herself? The hatch drop comes out from the man onto the man that's been flashed, and now this last player alive, Mac, going to be moving in through this main entrance corridor, turns away from the buck at just the wrong moment, and that is going to be his life over the round, over around, going the way of Aspire.
Okay. Well, round 10 we find ourselves in. The attack team really just doing an incredible job of really isolating out these defenders, winning their one-on-one engagements. And of course, in a post-plant scenario, I'm a very big fan of Protect the President. So anytime that plant goes down, I'm thinking that attack team is doing everything, firing on all cylinders, if you will.
Yeah, indeed.
Attackers need to
We're
locate
hopefully
and
going to be
defuse
seeing a
as
bit
many
more
bombs
of
as they
the control coming out of the side of AGM, considering there was a lot of people very much in the last season of ESA that would have considered AGM to be a much stronger team than Aspire. But clearly, as you've seen throughout this game, pretty much what I've said is true. We've seen AGM very much stagnate, not really be able to adapt very well, not really be able to change things in order to bring themselves even further forward into the matchup as a whole. And instead, we've just kind of seen Aspire and other teams of the like catch up and, you know, create these opportunities for themselves to actually be able to, you know, get themselves at this level with these teams, whereas AGM are just falling a little behind now.
Yeah, I think you're using the word of the day there, right? It is the adaptability, because what are we seeing? Again, they're bringing the same exact defensive lineup. Now, if I got to be perfect for 3 in a row, or I lose the game, I might be trying something a little bit different, because I mean, it's obviously not working. 3 in a row that the attackers have found. So, gonna dedicate some of that same investment. Hopefully, maybe a few more bodies dedicated up top to slow down this vertical game the attack team is bringing to the table. And they're already taking East. They're already going to take a couple of shots into it. Oh, man. Now he's going to look back at that VOD and see how close he was to looking at that kill, of course.
Yeah, of course. And now, with Aspire doing as well, they really want to try and lock this out, especially on a site that is, you know, so well defender-sided, even in this matchup on its own. You want to be able to, you know, lock this out. If you're able to secure this site for yourself in, I don't know, a matchup of this stature when it comes into ESA, like, just to throw it out there, obviously we haven't seen the ability of all the teams, and I will constantly and forever be biased towards Eagle Empire, because Eagle Empire are the team that I am an analyst for. But everyone else, these two teams could very well be finalists at the end of the day, because these are two teams, AGM, insanely good. Aspire, a team that have improved so much over recent months in order to get themselves the position they're in now. People doubt, but anything can happen at this level of seed, because at the end of the day, the skill difference between the worst and the best a lot of the time is really marginal, and Carol is just proving my point, finding these kills back to back again and again and again, moving in towards this office side. A 2v4 clutch has come down, or not a 2v4, a 1v4 clutch has come down to a 1v2. This player is prone with the bailiff on the side of Fountain, and if he is able to spot him out, he very well could be able to find this kill, but it doesn't going to look like he's going to go for it straight away. J9 is the man to find the kill with the bailiff on the prone angle, but these teams aren't pushovers, and as much as teams around their level may mock them and, you know, knock them off their pedestal or whatever else they want to try and do to try and boost their own confidence, anybody else watching from an outside perspective, you can acknowledge these teams are good. And very well, as you are seeing J9 put up numbers, you're seeing Carol put up numbers, you're seeing Nexus put up numbers. If you see more of these players begin to find their footing in this series, we could very, very well see these teams make it very far.
And defuse bombs.
Yeah, I'd agree with you, but they've got to get past this one to do it, right? So, AGM, we said they got to be perfect for 3, found 1. As they took the early lead and then were able to capitalize on the body balance being shifted into their favor. Got to be perfect for 2 more. Head down to the bathroom. Teller's location to do it. They're going to bring the same operators that they have been bringing. So just really hoping and praying that the same strat is going to work. And I don't know if I'm the
seconds
side of
remaining.
Aspire and I've sussed out that that they're bringing the same operators to the
5
board
seconds
yet
to
again.
insertion.
I'm thinking that we pretty much have got this sealed up as long as they can get that
Attackers'
first pick,
objective
as
is
long
to
as they
defuse
can
a
hold
bomb.
true to the pattern that you find the entry and then play off the trade game to do it. So if I'm an Aspire fan, I'm feeling pretty good at seeing the lineup that AGM has just brought out.
Oh, exactly. You're gonna be just really wanting to see like a lot of these things sort of go your way. But at the moment, the main things to really consider is we're looking at players that are making a first appearance on their rosters in ESA specifically. Obviously, they've probably played other cups together, they've probably played their scrims together. But we're seeing players in ESA that are making their first appearance on these rosters underperform. But on the opposite side, you see Nexus overperforming. And that is so good to see for the side of Aspire, and so unfortunate to see for the side of AGM. Because realistically, AGM were at one point the Titans. So we'll have to see if they are able to really pull things out for themselves now. Nomad making their way through. Nerdy going to be the man to play inside of the CC side, and with Mac moving through on the fountain, is going to be trying to keep himself tucked and safe and away from harm at the moment, as Fenrir is the one to get aggressive through the office side. Does manage to catch out a man. J9 is going to catch out Nexus specifically, putting him on 9 deaths, almost equalising his KD to 1 all. And well, as Habana finds one more onto the return of the man that is going to be, you know, bringing things forward for his team, they are going to be in a much better position.
Yep, so J9 to fall, and that's the frag leader gone for the defense. You're going to see a C4 head out, but not going to claim any. And that's going to be a double to ring out as both Nerdy and Carol find it. And now puts us into a 4v2. We've got 66 seconds left on the board, and it's Vapex and Kesh with all to do here in the end part of the round. It is Kesh holding on to that hatch as he's going to get his verticality opened up, force him to take a look, takes a shot at the frost map, and Kesh going to be able to find Casper off the board. Now takes us into a 3v2. The swing onto Habana as Kesh now starting to come alive in the round for his team there. And he is going to get taken off the
Attackers have
board
recovered their diffuser.
as the Flores is going to be able to find that kill, and that's going to be the plant starting to go down. They've got the cross set up. Now it's Vapex trying to keep it alive for his team, who takes a shot onto there, but has to get himself into some safety because have to get that reload soon. Now they've got the hatch open as well, and Flash is starting to come out, and that's going to put him into a bit of a tough spot as he's looking to catch him on the rotate. That is a post-plant scenario now, but he doesn't have a clue that he's still in that bathroom area. Now, they know now. Air jab goes off, sends him through a wall, so the Flash is coming out, and verticality going to claim that round and the match.
Yeah, very unfortunate game for the side of AGM there. They didn't actually manage to find themselves any sort of footing in the actual matchup alone. So we're going to be having to see a bit more from them coming out in the future, because we really want to. We really do want to see AGM do well. They are a team that were sort of the Titans, and well, hopefully we'll be able to see a bit more from them coming into future matchups. And same with Aspire.
Yeah. Well, here was the problem, right? If you looked at that scoreboard before we left, it was 14 kills on the side of the hard breach, right? So every single operator getting active, and when the hard breach is going crazy, it's all things are flying in or going into your favor, and it just went that way, right? It was just a huge game and played into that attacker side that we were talking about earlier. So we're going to do it again, folks. We've got one more for you, a best of one, and it's going to be a banger, and it's coming up right after this. So sit back, relax, fill your drink to the tippy top, because when we come back, we're bringing you a third map. Ayo.
Let's go.
What's up, and welcome back, fellow Siege spectators and players. We have done it. We are in our last match of the evening, and it is going to be an absolute banger. I am still the Reverend Whiskey Glitter, and with me still is Mr. Naj. What you think, Naj?
Well, we're watching two Titans gone rogue, as we are going to be seeing them try and make a return into the coming season of ESA Season 8. As well, something that I have touched on previously is in I'm pretty sure it probably was season 6. That they both had a pretty good showing. They had a pretty strong sort of run coming through it. I'm pretty sure Minions won. Um, and obviously they had a big roster switch up coming into season 7. And Team Misclick were kind of just nowhere to be seen. They were like an unproven team almost. So I want to be seeing a little more of those. And we are going to be just glossing over a few things before we jump into the game. First, let's go to the map bans.
That's right. And we have been blessed today. No Oregon on the board. We are gonna head to the Dub House, right? The great equalizer between maps, and where Naj has a couple of viewpoints on this map, which we have talked about a couple of times. Mainly being it has one of the sites that is almost completely unplayable, and I imagine we're gonna see it here today.
We are. I want to say 100%, but it's not 100% with people for some reason banning Mirror, even though like she's insanely countered by Ash and Callie now. But I just the reason I'm not a massive fan of Clubhouse is because there's sites on it that just aren't worth playing anymore. There's sites that are coming into a little bit more of fruition, especially on console, and I think that we will be seeing a few of those. A few of those bar holds, should I say. But also, one big sort of glaring factor about Clubhouse is pretty much, I want to say like 99% of the time, we're going to see Fenrir banned, we're going to see Monty banned. So it kind of like forces those two into that position, but we are going to be heading into the map.
That's right. All right, folks. Last map of the evening. It is Dub House, as it's been coined. And man, I'm hoping we don't see the Monty ban, right? We've seen him banned out twice now. I love Monty on Clubhouse. I love the catwalk push. I love the dirt push. And we're going to see who it is going to be. And I imagine probably Ying, right? It's one of the standards we see her banned across the leagues like 80% of the time, a staggering number. So we can almost guarantee that she's going to be, if not the first, one of them.
Well, Mirror's one of those operators that's reached a new sort of standard of play in this map in particular. So she is one that we could see go out on the defensive side. Ying is one that you said, she's awful to play against. With flashes being, the big secondary utility, it kind of shapes the meta. So we're looking at these operators that bring these flashbangs, and people are starting to play around it. We want to take Ying off the board. Ying goes, Maverick soon to follow means Monty is going to be pretty prevalent, and CCTV/Cash is probably not. On the defensive side, we will more than likely see a Fenrir ban at some point, whether it's first or second, and we'll more than likely see a Solace ban. But this is one of the maps where I don't think Solace is insane. Yes, she gets banned, as I just said here, but Azami and Fenrir are infinitely more powerful for that catwalk hold. Obviously, with the Monty still being on side, this site's still going to be a bit useless. But Fenrir and Azami both sort of being on the board. Yes, they're there for the counterplay on the Monty itself, but they're just not going to be able to do all of the things they maybe want to.
Yeah, interesting band, my friend. Like, legitimately, the Solus Cade, I thought for sure the same thing that you did. Because the Azami, huge for that catwalk, like you said, huge for digging in trench on the church arsenal site, where you sit in the corner, watch dirt, watch the B site, watch blue and generator. So yeah, huge bands that come through. And on the complete opposite side of it, we're not going to see either one of them played out the gate here as well. So kind of interesting on the defensive side. Obviously, you're going to see that Valkyrie, right? We see the C4 getting ready to be played into the kitchen area to stop some of that verticality presence. The pick that we haven't really seen at all this evening, though, is the Wardeness on the board.
Yeah. On the rosters, as I said, there's been a couple of switches, less so for the side of Team Misclick. They're bringing in Nui, as I'm pretty sure their newest addition. But on the opposite side, We see Alex Northy joined by Sacred once again, but this time bringing along Jake Forsyth, Super, and Destruct. So we're going to be seeing 3 new faces in ESA for these players on the side of Team Minions. Well, we're going to be seeing what they can do. A beautiful cam there that just peeps through the exit sign and just watches down
Attackers have located a
that
bomb.
corridor.
Yeah, I like it, man. I would love going through and hitting those cams with you. Oh, look at that. They have got the intel that she's standing right there, but they're going to suss that drone out. It's going to be rotating back down just a tad, a little bit more of the relative safety. Is Buck getting in there trying to find that shot. Monty pushing down the dirt area. This is one of the things that we said was so huge at having the Azami on the board is slowing him down. They're going to utilize the Goyo in that place. And that, of course, gives away his location. They've already got a ton of vertical to be had here.
Yeah, indeed they do. So we're going to be seeing them just get this, hatch pressure on the board for themselves. And, well, the Thatcher is onside. Pizza going to be there to try and deny the rotation from the Thatcher himself. And, with the Buck falling, as you said, they lose a lot of that vertical pressure. They do still have the Habana, as we touched on briefly. And speaking of Habana, she manages to find one onto the Goyo. That's the Vector gone down. An operator that I did bring up also is going to be this Monty. This Monty is going to be very, very effective and also very, very overutilized in this matchup, I am pretty sure. And I think that, well, the side of Minions are going to be the team to really push Monty through into the meta. And, well, with it being a 2 versus 3 clutch, the Monty is going to be the man that you want to see start actually finding things for himself. He spots out a Frostmat and, well, spots out a Frost as well in the meantime. But as the Monty's left in a 1 versus 2 clutch, he's going to have to chase down this Frost. The punch comes out from the Frost herself and actually manages to clear out the shield in order to get some bullets into Monty's body.
Yeah, well timed too, because I mean, you see a Monty running at you now after that shield rework has been
You
done.
shipwrecks. That's
Yeah, you get the heck out of there because that shield bash is coming and it is going to render you useless. So huge play by the defense as they're able to systematically take them down. You know, and one of the things that was so effective about that is we had for most of the round, Legion was playing up top in Logi, denying the verticality of the Habana on some of those hatches, hatch plays. So I mean, we didn't go up and clear sight. Or clear the whole map out, which is something that is incredibly important on Clubhouse, and that leads to 1 for the defense.
Yeah. So the defense, once again, going to be touched on, but it is a very defender-sided meta. We are going to be seeing a lot of these rounds go in favor of the defense, and, well, we have seen, 2 matches in a row now that have had defender-favored halves.
5 seconds to insertion.
If not, I think 4, there was a 3-3. Am I remembering that wrong?
I think you were right. Yeah.
Either way, it's still one of those sort of positions where it's like the real deciding factor is whether a team can translate their sort of dominance on the defense over towards attack. Because if they can't, then they just lose. And that's where it becomes a bit more of a scary situation for these teams, and I think that that's probably what's going to be heavily focused on here. We see the Flores drone almost get all the way through and in onto those Kiva barricades that are going to be positioned around pallets on the shorter spot.
Yeah, you're going to see they're getting a lot of real estate really quite early as they're going to deny that can opener in, opting for the impacts to slow down the pressure of the Monty here. And they're stacking up yet again. Now, kind of on this gym bedroom defense, you'll see a kind of like a split approach, right? You see 2 Harbridge on the board as they open up cash, they open up hot tub, they open up construction. Doesn't necessarily look the case here. As Azami just being incredibly effective at slowing down this attacking team. now got a little bit of help from a friend, the Wamai that is
Position
pushing
secured.
from that construction area, and they've got it all kind of opened up here to be able to take this engagement. Going forward again, no shield bash to come out. It is the mute that got taken off the board first. The body balance is tipped in favor of the minions. And now starting to rotate back to site. It is Pizza next to fall. Zombie going to find herself in the line of fire and completed on the kill, and now puts us into a 5v2, even though we have several that are on a low health scenario here.
Indeed. And as the round carries on forward, we're seeing the attackers in this 4 versus 2 situation where they did have the reverse last time. 4 versus 1 now as Chuck finds another onto Konski. Nui finds a kill for himself, but not before he gets shield bashed by the Montang that is going to be walking in through the red corridor. And that is going to be a round going the way of the attackers, equalizing us at 1-1.
Excellent. Let's go back and forth for this last match of Siege, and that was a pretty well put together gym attack strat, right? They did, of course, stack up quite a bit, which is a little bit scary, but they were able to pull it through. So overwhelming force just flooded into site and took kills, and that's gonna, yeah, like you said, equalize us. Gonna go back to gym bedroom, and it looks like they're gonna be showing pretty much a very similar lineup, although new operator, or one of the newer operators, Tupero. Can't say the newest anymore.
Yeah. Tupero, one of the most annoying operators to play with, I feel, in ranked, because half the time I'm just trying to cater it. Leave me alone. And yeah, we're seeing that obviously with a bit more coordination, you're able to use him very, very effectively in order to stall. And if used correctly, you can use him for training purposes as well. So he's one of those operators that is pretty annoying to play against, but the Flores is in possession of the attacking side in order to try and counteract that.
Yeah, kind of dislodge him out of there. And you're going to see the adaptation here by the attack team. We're going to bring out that double hard breach that I was mentioning on the round before. A little bit more nod to the contemporary style of how to take this gym bedroom defense. And that, what it does is it's opening up everything. The floors to help get rid of some of that extension util. Specifically, those zombie barricades, those Kiba barriers that are just so huge at slowing and stalling down, or stalling out. The Monty, who is, like you said, you predicted, on the board yet again.
Criminally overpicked on Clubhouse. And now we're going to be seeing him get aggressive on towards this cash side once again. The C4 below is going to be out onto the doorway, finds the Monty.
Good night!
And that's going to be a good night for that man, as you just pointed out. Great Foresight going to be getting aggressive inside of bar, finds one for his trouble. Now going to be looking for the double. First into find it. The rhyming scheme does come into play, and well, as the impact trick also follows, we are going to be seeing these players on the defense get filtered a little bit, get caught out by the excess of hard breaching utility that is going to be sort of pressuring this cash side. And well, with Ace falling down and well, looking a little bit dire in this situation, we are going to be getting him rezzed though, and well, now the attackers do have a bit of a leg up against these defenders. They have that extra man, they have the AK in hand, and I think that this is where it could become a bit dire for these defenders if they're not able to hold on to these power positions.
Yeah, gotta find.
Myers.
Yep, exactly. Got to find one to equalize and really stop that potential plant from coming in. It is the hold into gold here, as they're trying to maintain that Logi presence as well. But be able to take a look, right? He's got 36 seconds, and that is going to be Ace to find one for his troubles, as you say. And it's going to be the F2 saying goodnight on the pizza. Is the headshot going to ring out, and another for the attackers.
Indeed it is, and it's looking very, very good for this attacking side right now. If they're able to find one more, they're definitely in a bit more of the driver's seat than anyone might have expected. And Well, kaboom, as it says on the
Kaboom!
cast.
Yes, it's so good.
We like these. We like the production team. Very funny. Speaking of production team, we are currently watching the observation of Bosamax, and then we're also watching the production of Nanos. So two wonderful, brilliant people that are just going to be. That could be the other way around, but I'm pretty sure it's that way around. But yeah, wonderful people. Both very good at what they do, and realistically, we're happy to have them. Realistically, they just carry us. We just talk about what's going on.
Yes, we probably could. So, is the timeout being taken here? As it looks like we had a bit of a DC, or potentially for the restart. FPS bugs still being prevalent, unfortunately, and we have to deal with that inside the scene. It is the round rotate, however, that is done. The first 3 of the first half of the last map, hard to say, are done data. So we are going to be able to see that Church Arsenal hold yet again, and they are going to kind of opt for the same sort of lineup. Now the question is, are we going to see some more of that investment to the 2F hold that we saw the first time around that we did this? As we saw Legion doing a really great job at stalling and denying that vertical pressure and presence the last time they played Church.
Yeah, indeed. And I mean, one thing that I haven't really seen them. Well, we didn't see them do last time, but one thing that I do know is a staple play of the side of Minions is this sort of Buck and Monty combo. And when I say that, I mean Buck died quite early. But what they'll do is they'll tend to rush these vertical angles, and then they'll move the Buck over towards Dirt alongside the Monty. He'll play behind the Monty and just peek around the shield in order to get some angles onto the people that are playing on box 1 and inside of generator, that sort of thing, cut off those rotations. So that's something that we potentially could be seeing in this round as we do come forward into it. But obviously, with it still being at a pause, Sacred does finally return. It's going to be that sort of position of whether we actually see the Buck live that long.
Yeah, kind of like what we were seeing on the last map as well, Buck dying so frequently. It's that early engagement, just trying to find that verticality, trying to play off the Monty Shield, just trying to be an impactful player. So, speaking of impactful players, Jake sitting at that 7-2 KD, just having an absolutely phenomenal game, and potentially the reason why we're seeing the attack team up in the scoreline that we are. And you know what else is a little bit interesting? Twice that we've seen the Church Arsenal, and twice that we've seen Jim Bedroom. One operator that is glaringly absent that we talked about a lot is the Mira not being utilized on any of the maps so far.
Yeah, it kind of depends on the type of player you are, but realistically, there's 2 types of people when it comes down to how people feel about Mira, and some do think she's still very much capable of being in that big 5, which I think, yes, very well is the case. But there's others that believe that, well, realistically, Pally can be so well utilised, Ash can be so well utilised in the current meta. What's the point? So we do see a few of these teams just kind of like disregarding the fact that she exists, even when she is on the cards. More than likely, we'll see her played a bit more by Minions.
Yep. Pizza going to be the first casualty there as the attack team getting active yet again in the early, trying to capitalize off some of that early kills. It's also Legion to find themselves in a low HP scenario. Was able to WASD his way to some relative safety, and they did. They pushed to the top this time, trying to dislodge that Legion who was, I imagine, playing in that Logi location.
Speaking of getting dislodged, it is going to be the Jackal to dislodge this player that is going to be hovering around in bar, and with those pings being public, unlike the Deimos pings, we are going to be seeing the rest of the team get active on that man's location as well. Everyone else is going to be already on site, and soon to be joined by the attackers. They are starting to apply this vertical pressure. Monty, more than likely going to be looking to rotate over towards where his final push is going to come from in this last minute and 20 seconds. And I think that with it being minions that we are watching, he's probably going to try and make his way over towards the dirt/main stairs side, because main stairs is default and dirt is something that the side of minions have been making use of.
Oh, what a nade to get that deployable off. Really had to go through some gymnastics to find the right angle to get it taken down. That is going to be Legion getting the next kill, but done his job at really stalling it out. And you hear those goos starting to go off as they're pushing down that blue stair and that main stair at the same time. It's going to be IQ to take the swing. Now takes us into a 3v3, into a 3v2, kaboom times 2. Now into a 2v2, as Nui gonna find that kill on the Sacred, and now takes us. Jeez, I can't even get it out, but to find the kill onto Nui, and now takes us into a 2v1, a potential for a plant to go down, but it is gonna be the swing as they're looking for this last defender who is bobbing and weaving for his life. Now they got, oh! Man, shot almost comes through off the back of the chassis there to claim a life. With 10 seconds left, going to see this plant starting to go down. The cross is held up. They're looking for him on the door. They're going to go ahead and be able to stick this.
Indeed.
It's easy peasy. Destruct to take them down.
Yeah, that's going to be another round in favor of this attack. And, well, timeout buff isn't quite going the way that you'd think it would. So now we're going to be looking at these... we're going to be looking at the side of minions already at the point of no return. Well, for the side of Team Misclick at least, because it's like at this point, Misclick really need to start turning things around. Because yes, these sides, some of them can be pretty well attacker sided, but gym bedroom, it's not. Basement, it's not. Bar, it's not. We're going to be seeing CC, the one that very much is attacker-sided. And this is where you get a little worried for the side of Team Misclick. This is a side that is very attacker-sided. You haven't brought along a Fenrir. You've brought along a Bandit instead of Decade, because Decade's banned. And now you're stuck in this position where, yes, you've got the Legion to deal with Monty, or to try and counter the Monty. Yes, you've got the Wamai, which is a default Raptors holder. And yes, you've got the Azami also. But instead of bringing along that Fenrir, you've decided to bring along the Bandit in order to try and go for a Bandit trick, which realistically isn't exactly the best play on this site, because of the vertical pressure that can be applied, with two of your players being restricted to playing that Rafters position, and with the pressure that can be applied on the actual breach itself with Thatcher or Capital or even Zofia. And some other operators as well that we will be seeing sometime soon. But the main thing is the fact that they brought along this bandit. They're going to try and bandit trick. If it works, good for them. But if it doesn't, I told you so. So
yeah, it's tough with that bandit, especially when you don't bring along something to extend downstairs, right? Now, we do have a player that is invested in that to try to hold that vertical game, but the pinch is already starting to happen as we're going to have a couple more players start to converge on that lower area, and so they can do exactly what you're talking about, dislodging the Wamai, dislodging the bandit from holding on, and now it is going to be Wamai to find the first death as the bees ring out and take his life, and pushing up onto the Azami, but Azami going to find the kill onto the Monty. That was a huge pick as they regain all of that real estate.
There's nothing that annoys me more than watching a Monty try and be a hero. It's like, this is such an Alamal play to stand on rafters and then drop your shield and die. Like, you're so much more effective if you just keep that shield up and just give calls to your team, because the pressure you apply just by existing is infinitely more powerful than risking your life to just try and get a kill. Especially as a Monty. You're not equipped for that. Just play like a human, please.
Play like a human. And you were right. They did bring along that Capital that was to dislodge, and they did get a little bit of the fire onto the Azami. That's why that health is missing. Ooh, just barely missing out on potentially catching the pick there. Sees the toes, going to keep creeping their way up, and potentially to... They don't have any fire left? Oh, man. Just
Well, the thing is, the
smokes.
ponytail isn't part of her hitbox, and she has a lot of ponytail. So that's something that a lot of people fall for, and a lot of people get caught out by. The fact that, well, this round is pretty much in Team Misclick's favour, so we don't really have to worry too much with this 1 HP Thermite. But I'll use it as an opportunity to just talk about the fact that it's one of those things that a lot of people get caught out by because of the fact that a lot of Azami's sort of like head hitbox is restricted to the actual head and not the hair.
Seconds remaining.
So we're seeing like a few players, especially in Pro League, I've seen it a couple times, like get just absolutely bullied by the fact that like the ponytail sticks up over stuff.
So a bit of a faux timeout here for the attacker team, as you were right. Yeah, it was definitely the deciding round or deciding factor of the round. Monty holds that pressure, then this is a completely different situation, as the Azami just wasn't going to be able to be effective. But drops the shield, and Azami able to find the 2-piece to maintain that garage control, and then of course gives one over to the defense. Now, here's the thing, though. Attack, they've already done their job, Nosh, right? 1 is good, 2 is quota, and 3 is incredible. So if I'm on the side of the minions, I'm already kind of feeling good about going into my defensive half up in the scoring. If you can take it to a 4-2, I mean, that's a tough road to climb back unless you're bringing an equally aggressive attack strat.
Oh, yeah. Like, the finding 4 on Clubhouse on an attacking half is wild. Like, there's realistically not many situations that you really see that happen. But if anyone's going to do it, it's probably going to be this minions roster here and now, as they are just getting ready to, you know, get themselves up to come in and try and fight
5
this.
seconds left before insertion.
We do see an IQ more than likely going to be on those breaching charges or nades.
Attackers are moving out. Locate a
But
bomb.
I'm assuming breaching charges in order to try and apply vertical or have a backup or be the backup for the vertical pressure that, well, if the buck dies, the buck can no longer apply. The Monty is going to be bringing along those can openers alongside the buck to, you know, be the hatch players, because, you know, Habana didn't really work
Bomb
that time.
located by attackers.
And yeah, now they're adapting. They're going up onto the top floor. They're going to be trying to do this clear onto logistics and bedrooms, because last time, a big part of the tricking capabilities for this team was the fact that they had the Legion above.
Yeah. And so now they're going to kind of couple it up, right? They're going to bring out the Oryx as well, and it is going to be the Legion to find that first kill, so still holding on, still applying that pressure, and now you've got that vertical gone again, and you got him gone early, and that is just such a huge pick for the Legion to find there, and still able to maintain that control, so they're still going to have to dedicate some more resources to pushing him out of there, and now he's got some support, both Goyo and the Oryx coming up to help hold on to this 2F location. Feels a little bit dire if I'm on the attack side of it.
Oh yeah. And now, with the IQ just scanning around, seeing what she can find, Monty is going to be getting his rocket and Bedroom gets knifed by Fog! As now, we see a much clearer path to victory for the side of Team Misclick. They've managed to clear out the Monty, the big detrimental scare factor that they had in the previous round, and now we're going to be seeing them just try and drive it even further forward. They've turtled themselves onto the site even with the Oryx in hand, and could very well be seeing a Team Misclick round here.
Potentially, yes. The defense is feeling pretty good, right? 58 seconds left on the board. They've really done a fantastic job of stalling it out. They've removed the vertical game and the vertical presence, so it's going to be having to push down some freaking staircases, which, if you ever listen to Pangu ever, he says is not an ideal situation if you're an attacker. So go for the intel, suss out where the heck these last couple of players are. They also have to deal with that deployable shield. Now, they were effective with it last time, but with only 27 seconds left, boy, we're going to make it even tougher.
Pressure being applied now as the nades go through. They manage to clear out the canisters, and we are going to be seeing these players just take a bit of a tussle and a gunfight on towards the far side. The Ash Rush wall going to be where they try and enter, making their way through. One of the Goyo canister pops. It's now seeing the Goyo himself, or not the Goyo, the Oryx himself, get very aggressive on the right side. And well, that ended very quickly. And we're going to be seeing another defender round. 3-3 in the split.
Defenders win.
Yeah, honestly, I think that was starting to go the way of the attackers, right? They got themselves into sight. They had the cross set up, a little bit too aggressive, over-peaked, lost the double gunfight, and that was a post-plant scenario that, of course, didn't work out for the attackers. That was a huge round for the defense, and honestly, they definitely needed that. Oh, that knife.
Yeah,
I love a good melee.
We love those.
Recovered the bomb diffuser.
Okay, 3-3 on the split, our second of the evening. What does that mean for Team Misclick here?
Well, realistically, it means don't lose. Because the moment you lose one, it goes to 4, and then you're only 2 away from that match point scenario. And realistically, that's quite scary. Especially considering you're playing
10
against
seconds to go.
a defense on a defender-sided
5
meta,
seconds to go.
on a defender-sided map. Yeah, it's not great.
Attackers' objective is to locate the bomb and
Realistically,
defuse it.
I think if minions are trying to keep themselves all together here, they're bringing along the Fenrir, something that wasn't really utilised that much by the opposite side, and the other side also doing the Monty play, but bringing along the Doki, which is another thing that wasn't really applied on the side of minions. So both of them using these two sort of impactful, powerful operators, but one of them falls immediately, unable to get a single call off. Doki is off the board thanks to Fenrir.
Yeah, huge. And you talked about win conditions for the Church Arsenal hold it being is that Fenrir zombie combo, and it's exactly what we're seeing here. So it's going to make that last late round push quite a bit more difficult. You called it, and I love it. Monty on the board again. Crazy, right? The Dokkaebi being the first to fall, the first casualty on the side of the attack team. There's several operators that could have went first that might have been a little less impactful. The Dokkaebi's huge. That intel alone, should you find the kill, which they did get one, would have been huge.
Yeah, the vertical pressure coming out from the block though now on this first floor corridor. The man that was playing below has kind of fallen off a little bit and made his way into the corridor, and the Fenrir gadget is going to be pretty oppressive inside of the corridor as well. Just forcing Buck to make a bit of a rotation, come over towards the open this up, and then go back to what he was doing inside of the kitchen, getting himself ready to start cooking.
Speaking of cooking, Monty gonna get active and start heading towards some of that vertical area. Our vertical drop area is gonna open up that moto hatch and start applying some of that vertical pressure that you're talking about. It's 66 seconds left on the board. We're still sitting 4 apiece here, which means the trades, once this execute starts to happen, is going to be insane, right? They're going to go back and forth. They're not going to be able to keep up with it. A huge Wamai disc to take one of those summon charges off the board, which means they're going to have to rely on a vault through, and hopefully nothing gets impacted. Ooh,
Both
that's
of them
tough.
get
Church will
impacted.
stay closed.
Yeah, not great, especially when you consider the fact that, well, you've got no hard breach charges left. Literally meaning that, well, you're done and dusted for your breach potential. You're unable to open up any more angles. You have to play off the ones that are given to you by the defenders themselves, and the Legion's not going to be really helping the attackers as they do try and make their way in through Moto. He's going to be over towards this generator side, gets caught out by an impact as he does take a bit of damage from several different angles. The shotgun from the Legion is going to be just, bullying a little bit as Sacred finds the other one.
Bailiff. I love it. Couple of Bailiff kills we've seen this evening.
Yeah, we saw
Cheeky.
the one on border, and we're seeing the one now. So, Bailiff becoming a weapon that is is used a bit more aggressively now, as it has been, a bit more fun.
Yep. Okay, well, the unfortunate for Team Misclick here is they did end up losing. The one win condition you said they couldn't do. They unfortunately fell to it, and that is going to give the score lines tipped over to the favor of Minions. And now, like you said, it's 2 away from being potentially over, which puts the attack team. All of the pressure now is upon them to find the next couple of rounds before we get to 1 away from match point scenario. You don't want that momentum to stay built up into their favor. So we head back up to the gym bedroom site, and we're going to see both of those operators we said were so powerful for Clubhouse being utilized here. Again, no Mira on the board, not potentially necessary. The feet on construction is interesting.
Yeah, realistically, on the defensive side, on the attacking side, sorry, going into an attacking half at a 3-3 split. The reason I say like this could be pretty damn well over is because the best point to start making a statement and start showing that you can bring this further forward and give your fans hope is by making a statement early. And after seeing them sort of struggle in round number 1 and even lose their sort of oppressor, which was the Dekebi, early in that round, we are going to be seeing a bit more of this sort of like question marks type of play where we want to see more from them, but we don't know if we are actually going to see it.
So it is going to be Thatcher holding on to the long angle, the highway windows, making sure that no jump out's going to occur. So we're going to start to see the Flores drones get active and take care of some of these keep barriers. What they're trying to do, they're trying to dislodge this zombie. Now the flashes come through, which means the swing is going to come, but they eventually get themselves back into the relative safety of master bedroom and again able to hold on to that construction area. Pete's going to be the first to lose their life now. They're opening up that main breach. It's the Ash Dundada. Goodbye, sayonara, see you later. Which means the body balance is going to be tipped in favor of the Minions here. So they find themselves in a 5-4 with 1:30.
Yeah. We are looking at Team Misclick right now in this 4v5, as you said. Just try and equalise the man count. Solo points 1 on Super. And well, while they have found a player, it's not exactly the player you're looking for. Drops into the crossfire as Alex Northy does manage to kill Solo, and that's going to give us a much better situation for these defenders as they find another bailiff kill on the board for Sacred as he finds one more, and that is going to end the round. That's what, 4 bailiff kills tonight and 3 of them being on Sacred.
Yeah, insane,
crazy,
absolutely insane. That bailiff just so great, right? In the realm of the close quarter combat, pocket shotty. Yeah, I think I think it'll do the trick.
Well, now we are just going to be seeing a much more balls to the wall side of Team Misclick as well. It's now 5-3. It's do or die, do something or don't, as I like to say. And we are going to be just watching them, bring along a pretty standard hold. They're playing particularly... Excuse me, they're playing mostly around trying to deny this Grim, which is why you see the mute jammers being placed on rafters. Which is something that, isn't really considered nowadays. But with the, with the mute being brought instead of the Wamai, that means that realistically they are vulnerable to a Capital. But they've spotted out the mute, they've decided against the Grim, and realistically they're just going to play this pretty default. They're going to just go for the 2 main walls, play pressure on rafters, open up the garage wall with the ace in order to be able to apply pressure from underneath and, hold on to rotation. And that's pretty much all they're going to be looking for. They're just going to be playing a very default Virtus Pro style hold, moving over towards that construction side and trying to get the plant inside of cache, more than likely, because the new defaults are inside of cache.
Yeah, opening up that single wall, getting yourself in position with the cross set up. But they did, however, bring the Wamai, and the Wamai is sitting 13-5. So definitely an active player, probably going to still be holding on to that. Now, Bandit downstairs is a little bit interesting. utilizing that tricking that we talked about. It's going to be Alex to find the first death, the first casualty, and it is going to be on the side of the defense. A little bit of sound cues, he pops in, and now that's diffuser cold in the gym bedroom area. Huge for the defense, as they're going to be able to just start rotating, and there you go. Start seeing the players rotating that way to just hold on to Case.
Indeed, Pizza making his way up the main stairs, 2 and 7, looking for more as he tries to get hungry through this door. Finds Sacred, and that's going to be the first man to fall in the bedroom. Well, as he does, it is going to be a bit more of a intimidating prospect for the defenders to try and follow from. But Destroy is the man to equalise the man count. You see Solo, Pizza, and Nui still alive, ready to try and bring themselves forward on towards these default plants over inside of Cash, and they're just running out, making sure they've got control of that highway, and also making sure they've got control of construction. Nui finds one. That's going to be the man isolated on the red stairs, by the looks of things. Oh no, it's actually a man isolated inside of the red corridor. So we are going to be looking at a bit more of a favourable situation for these attackers. Super below with the C4 in hand, ready to just launch that sun through the floorboards in order to get it through onto the green box plant spot. But we'll see if they decide to go for the Virtus Pro table plant or not.
Rotates back up, so C4 going to be in hand for some up top use here. We do find ourselves in a 3v2 with 17 seconds left on the board. Gonna have to see this bit of a push here as they still haven't dislodged out of the... Okay, there you go.
They were going for the Virtus Pro table plant. You saw the ace jump on it at the end. Yeah, that's pretty much what I expected from that team. They caught out the angles and they decided to just take their gunfights as they crossed instead of just crossing in general. But that's going to be very good for them. That's going to give them the momentum that they need. It's boosting them forward into this position to actually be able to equalise, actually be able to take a win if need be, potentially even take us to overtime if both of these teams continue to be as proficient as they are.
Yeah, I did expect it to go a little bit more in the favor of the minions as they were having such success on the attack side of it, but here we go. One away from equalizing the scoreline as we head back down to the Church Arsenal hold. And they're going to bring basically second verse, same as the verse, right? Or the second verse, same as the first. We're going to see. It's just going to be dedicated to keeping that slow down city alive.
10 seconds to go.
Keep that church wall closed up with those impacts. We see the trench warfare of the Azami to set up inside of that B site, close to where that dirt, and holding on to that blue area. It's just a good traditional hold, or I guess contemporary hold for Church Arsenal.
Indeed. Right now we are seeing a bit of contention over towards this Adam side from the defenders, and they are just going to be trying to clear it out on this attacking side. You do see the buck of Furrow making his way through that CC wall in order to get himself some positioning inside of CC and Cash. Maybe going to be trying to apply some pressure on towards the downward side of Red Stairs, and maybe not also the case, as he is going to be rotating over towards the bedroom side, potentially going to be trying to get that vertical pressure flash hatch open in order to, actually start hitting the site and see what they can do there. There is going to be the impact pressure from the players below, which is going to be the Wamai and the Azami, just making sure that they keep the pack as close as possible for as long as possible. Twitch Drone gets dealt with as the new Havana pellets have been placed, and goes out to destroy those.
Yeah, so still sitting 5-all. It's a minute and 30 left on the board. They did get that hatch open, but it is going to be Legion holding on to the long angle from the prone and position, hoping to catch somebody off guard. That's the thing about the Habana, right? She brings enough pellets to get that thing open. I mean, you have to load up on the impacts to get through there. And now it's going to be the Bucks starting to apply that vertical pressure, start opening up, and get that dirt location open so we can get a bit of a split push. We do see the Nui is bringing out the Osa, right? So potential to drop that kitchen hatch, which we do see quite a bit, right? Drop the kitchen hatch, get a shield down, go for the plant with the cross set up. This could be what we're looking at here. But one thing that we know for certain, it is going to be pedal to the metal once this execute starts to happen. Because we're still sitting 5-all, we just entered into the frag zone, which means it's going to be kill crazy, my friend.
The attacker's bomb diffuser has been dropped.
Indeed.
Attackers recovered
As you
the bomb.
said, 40 seconds on the clock. 10 men standing, as we are going to be seeing a bit of a bloodbath coming into the final 20-second post-plan, 20-second meta that we did see. But as Pro, the Osa Shield going to be coming forward on towards the pillar so she can get the plant down. This one coined by Team Secret, as we saw in UL days ago.
Attackers dropped the
It
diffuser.
does get dealt with, so very well played by defense in order to keep him safe and make sure that
10 seconds remaining.
is an impossible plant to achieve, but Twitch going to be looking for frags. Instead, she drops down the motor hatch, tries to take the engagement, isn't able to find it, and that is going to be another round for the side of Minions.
Yeah, not just another round, but a very important round because that puts us on a match point scenario for Team Minions. Now we're going to have to see Team Misclick be perfect for 2, or it is going to be over before we knew it. Last game of the day, I can't believe we're already here, and we're going to head back up to the gym bedroom site for this potential last round. And there's the adaptation. Mirror going to be brought onto the board and really start to add some of those layers to this defense.
This is 100% bringing along the Mirror, bringing along the Fenrir, bringing along the Azami. They have 100% built a strat around these 3. And more than likely, this is just going to be their pocket to throw the enemy team off guard. And what they're going to want to do here is they just want to go. They want to get the knife in their hand and just take the stab, get it over with now.
10 seconds to insertion.
Yeah, I think it's a good one, right? Hold on to the strat that you're most comfortable and most familiar with for this such a crucial and impactful round. So exactly what we were talking about. Lots of layers going to be set up here. We start off with the Mira holding on to the breach, holding on to that construction area, and then back it up with the Fenrir and the Azami to really lend that support and slow them down, allow the Mira to get those picks. Frost to make sure they're not coming in through the windows. And, I mean, yeah, this is a pretty great defensive step. Now, on the other side of it, we're bringing the approach that you need for this to work exactly. It's the 2-pronged banger. You bring out the Thermite and the Thermite and the Ace, open up both the hot tub, CCTV, and construction. Flores to get rid of that extension util, those Kiva barriers specifically, or potentially some of those frost mats and stop that window push. And the Twitch to get rid of it. I mean, if there was ever a setup to counter this defense, this is it.
Indeed, it is. We do see the Flores just opening up the construction wall for Twitch to deal some damage on this rappel, but no one going to be hovering over on the Shaiko spot as Mira is going to be the one to cover that side. The window gets opened on bathroom, and that's going to give Konski a bit of security in order to be able to try and take some peeks through and onto the site. He is still a little wary of this red stairs side. There is no player currently standing in that position, but there is going to be a man inside of logistics. They're opening up the wall on the bathroom in order to be able to maybe take the sprint through or even just apply more pressure on towards the Frost that is going to be hovering in that location. Once again, a minute 20 left on the clock, still 10 players alive. Could be seeing another bloodbath here as, well, Frost almost manages to find some toes through the drone.
Yeah, no kidding. That would have been such a huge pick. Speaking of huge picks, that's the Twitch gone off the board as the Aussie Repel doesn't quite work out. Shot's going to be onto the broken Mira and not going to still be able to dislodge them from it. And there it is. Actually, they are going to take Frost off the board. She peeks up. For some reason, a very silly angle to be taken there on the pre-fire. Does take us into into a 4v3 as they found also the floor is off the board. This means the body count, the man advantage, the body balance is sitting in favor of the defense with 48 seconds left. This is all but written up here as we're going to have to see some really huge individual heroics out of Nui and Pizza to do it. Now, Nui is sitting at that 12-6. Can somebody take a gunfight? Nui can't. He takes Mira off the board. Going to be rotating around trying to find that shot onto Red. Going to be there to take that engagement as they are, of course, all back onto site. My disc going to prove to be the bane of those summer charges. Open up onto construction. Does find another kill. Pizza onto Sacred. Taking us into a 2v2. A bit of a showdown because it's do or die. Still got the deployable in the bedroom to deal with. 15 seconds. Comes up into the Fenrir gadget. A little bit on the back foot here. It's the pitch.
Drop the bomb diffuser.
They do find him.
Seconds to go.
Indeed they do.
Wow.
And Destruct with the final two, managing to secure it for his team, locking this away from the side of Team Misclick. Minions went away with the victory.
Wow.
They did, in fact, steal the moon.
They did, in fact, steal the moon. I like that phrase. Oh, man. Well, it looked like they were starting to get themselves a bit of a comeback, but unfortunate. It was a too little, too late scenario, and their Minions just able to wrap that one up.
17 kills on Cycle, by the way.
Almost dropped a 20 bomb.
I'm a bit baffled by that. It's kind of crazy. It's been an enjoyable one. And, well, it's been one of those days where you've kind of seen these games go pretty much as expected. The only one that was a bit more of a sort of wrench in our plans was the first one. And that's going to be pretty much it from us as a whole. We are going to look quickly at the standings before we leave, as to see where these teams have ended up as of the end of today. So we still have 2 more play days to decide where these matchups are going to take place, who's going to be against who, and where we are going to be going from here. And well, we do actually have tomorrow's schedule, apparently. There we go. At 7:30, we have Controller Gang versus Flawless 7. At 8:30, we have Frequency Esport versus Retirement Home. And we also have Cosmo Gaming versus Ryuga by MG. MG making a face for themselves inside of Console Siege as of recently. So we'll be seeing what they decide to offer to us as a league. But yeah.
We did it. All right. Well, folks, it was 3 up and 3 down, and it was everything that you'd hoped they would be. It's always a pleasure casting with the Anaj, the production team. Chef's kiss, absolutely goated in the game. Love doing the ESA Cup. Thank you so much to everybody that hung around. As we said, there's a lot of seeds you could be watching, and we appreciate you hanging out here. So we come to the dreaded part of the evening where, alas, we must bid you adieu. And as the lights start to dim and the jukebox starts to sing closing time, as always, my friends, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Ayo.
Let's go.